Can I ask a question? Whether you answer it or not is another question.
Am I on your caution?
Do you not have like dispersal orders in place for situations like this?
Especially when, like,
You're not one of
it's
those
not
people that's trying to make money, are you?
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just there. People want to know what's going on, and you can get down on the ground and ask questions. It's good too. I was just wondering if there's dispersal orders in the area. No. So you wouldn't disperse people in a situation like this? You wouldn't like start giving dispersal orders? Or kettle them all in and take all of their addresses and details, because we've seen it in recent days where people have been kettled in.
Well, nobody
They've just attacked. Well, they have. They've just attacked the pub.
Not the people when we got here. They weren't.
But there's criminal damage to the pub. I've just recorded the window being smashed. So no arrests have been made, no. And nobody's been dispersed from the area. That's all you need to know, people. No dispersal orders.
Access to it has been blocked earlier on.
Well, there isn't dispersal order because the person who would make that decision doesn't feel it's necessary, and in fairness, neither do I, because none of the people there are causing any problems for us to require us to disperse them.
So why was there no dogs down here tonight? Why was there no riot gear? Well, there was a couple of you with riot gear, but why were there the numbers that we've seen? This is the second largest city in the UK.
Why are you asking?
Because the people, because I'm a citizen journalist, and people want to know. I'm live streaming the incident now because people want to know. I haven't come down here for any issues. I've stood like away because I don't want to incite nothing, obviously.
We've come across a small situation which was probably no different to everything we've come to on a Saturday night. A small scuffle. Because there were large numbers down here of the local community.
Yeah.
Okay. The scuffle probably looked something that it probably wasn't. Okay, we have deployed, assessed this as a small scuffle. You will notice, yes, that there are now no officers in riot gear, as you put it.
Yeah.
Okay, and all the people that are now here are not causing a problem. And any of the people that were involved in that scuffle initially have now left already. So there's no.
There's a heavy presence still, though.
The presence of what?
There's a heavy presence of people still here. Don't try to trip me up on my words. There's a heavy presence of people.
You could have meant this, or you could have meant.
No, you know who I'm going on about without trying to get me to trip up to say something that's not PC.
There's a lot of people who live around here who are here. I don't see any issue with that. Nobody here is causing the problem.
But do you know the only reason I come here was because there was a group of individuals, very large presence of people, that were making a lot of threats online. Yeah, so I've come down here to document the fact that that was happening. You're now saying because it's not happening now that you've got here, all of those things that the British public have seen online tonight, and there's been many streams from these people, I can even tell you that they're looking now in Stretford area for a blue Skoda.
All right. Well, anyway, we need to go.
My intelligence is better than yours then. That's quite worrying if my intelligence is better than yours. I get that, but I'm just trying to let you know that...
Anyway, we must go.
Sound, mate. So there you can see, people, that...
Dude.
You didn't want to have a chat with me?
What kind of schizophrenic soy kind of like concept do Brits have on policing? It's like...
I had to mute my microphone, man, because I kept laughing.
Bruh.
You
see what I mean? This is what...
Yeah, excuse me, sir, I'm going to bother you because I don't think you're doing anything. And I'm
why
quite
can't you
offended.
tell me? Can you tell me everything you're going to do? Yeah. How do we even know? Maybe he worked for Hamas. How do you know that he's not like... What do you know he's going to do with this information? He says he's live streaming it. What kind of policing do you think, guy? Grow a pair. Grow a fucking pair. What is going on? First of all, there's a thing called the First Amendment. And if people are going to display in some way and get out and they want to show like their, I guess, patriotism, right? This is what it's all about, is they want to fly their flag and have their cause, right? And the thing is, it's a double-edged blade, right? You want to also be patriotic and be able to do that for your own country. So you have to allow it. The fact of the matter is law and order. They're getting up in a pissy because a bunch of people have got together in a town, in a community, and they're all wearing black like the Antifa did, right? And that's what they seem to be distracted by. Kids are dead. The children are dead. There was a stabbing. Let's stay on fucking track here. There's no point going around to a cop who... What the fuck can he say? What can he do?
What is he supposed to be doing?
What can he...
I mean, he's just out there trying to do whatever he's capable of doing.
He's gone down there on his orders, and I expect he wants to be a little bit more tight-lipped. I was surprised he let so much slip. He said that, you know, there wasn't a dispersal order or whatever, and he did actually give some insight into the hierarchy of their force. It might not be the best idea to live stream that because you don't know who's...
He's like, what do you mean there's no dispersal order? Like, like,
What does that
man.
mean?
If people, what the fuck does that mean? If people are rioting and stuff like that, do you think they're going to give a rat's ass about a dispersal order? Are you kidding me?
It's fucking cringe, bro.
That's
But
the
this
most
is the
British
general
thing
sort of
ever, man.
yeah.
It could
the
be
little nanny state soy boys that are just I can't rally them. I can't help
Like the
them,
title.
man. Yeah. The Twinks. The good ones have already left. You'll meet them on the road. You'll find them out there. Anyone who allows half or more of their money to be taken in tax and says, thanks, mate. Thanks very much, mate. They always want to call you mate as well. Why do they always want to call you mate? I don't have a fucking clue where it comes from. They always say it. All right, mate. All right, mate. Fucking hell, just shoot me, man. Just fucking kill me. And they always want to be a little bit, you know, like with this different slang now as well. They always got to sound a little bit odd, right, when they're talking, to try and sound a little bit tough. It sounds, I don't know what it is, but let's get to another video. Let's have a look at a rather overweight gentleman pushing his luck with the riot. It's the last clip I sent to you just now in the chat there. There's a rather large gentleman, and they say that this is police brutality. I don't know. I'm not taking the side of the cops on this, but I'm just trying to come completely like from shit I've seen, you know, in America.
Yeah. I was showing this one last night.
Watch this.
I'm glad that
and
I have
imagine
you
you're
here.
on duty. Imagine you're on duty, right? And you've got to hold the shield, yeah? And this fucking knob is walking back and around. What's going on? Why is he doing this? If he's a patriot, why is he fucking goading his own forces so much? It does not make sense, man. And then go on. Looks like drunk and disorderly to me.
Yeah, I had this one going on the stream last night. It must come in later than when we had it on here. And I went back and I watched it again. Now when he catches his first head boop, pay real close attention to what's going on, because see that little can right there? That can's gonna become important real soon. I want you to really look at that, and then what happens?
Oh, come on.
All right, did you catch what actually happened?
Whoops. Yeah.
Homie's walking around, and he's looking at the ground, and he's like, "Oh, I stepped on a can," and he looks down, and that British police officer is like, "Smack." And he's like, "What do you do that for, mate?" And then he's like, "Oh,
hey, mate, why you done that? Have you got a bottle of water from the police, mate? And some welfare, please, mate?"
Yeah, and that cop's just like,
mate.
"Boop, you're going to sleep."
Fucking hell, man. There's no saving them. It's dead. Look, their country is an absolute shit show. I'm embarrassed to have the accent. I can't wash it off. Just look at them. Look at them in the streets. What are they doing? They're a fucking joke. If they're really patriotic and they really want to change it, at least organize yourself in a fashion which is conservative, which is, how should we say, like law-abiding. Should we start there? Become proficient in the law and how the law works, and really, I don't see the point here. If they're rioting and this is supposed to do something for the children that are dead, then I don't see how that does it. Obviously, what they should be doing is calling and contacting the authorities, you know, and having a hearing into it, contacting their politicians, surely. That would be the mature, evolved, correct route of action. We would have a hearing, wouldn't we? Which we can jump into in a minute, the Trump assassination hearing, guys. And we got some crazy shit on that. But I want to stay on this segment on discussing England's fall into complete soy, like, nanny state. They call it a police state. It's not. Those police are looking after them.
You're absolutely right. It's a nanny state.
It's a nanny state. It's a nanny state. They can't pay for their children to be born in hospital. A Brit is like, "Oh mate, what? Those Americans, mate, they have to pay for their babies. What, bruv? What, mate? Are you serious? Man has to pay, like, for seeing his doctor, like." Bro, shoot me. How the fuck am I meant to fit in with these people? They never had a job. I heard from one Brit once, he's never had more than $100 cash. He's never had it. Apart from on a birthday once. He was given 100. He's 37, 38 years old man.
How's that even possible?
He's never had it. How is that possible? He had multiple children. How is that possible? You are not a citizen. You are a subject. You are a peasant. You may think you are poor in America. My God, you're not. Just by being born American, you are so rich. You are so fucking lucky. Never ever think you're down your luck. There's always a Brit out there.
there's always a Brit out there to make you feel better.
Yeah, exactly. There's always a Brit out there somewhere. He lives on nothing. He has nothing. He's a socialist. He's a communist, and he doesn't know it. He's a complete soy cuck. Has no idea. And what happens is the visitors come to the country, they take everything that they can of it, and they go back to normality, to a world where you have to work for your money. The difference is they come out of it with an exchange rate, so they basically go in and pillage. Do you understand? You can go to England and you can pillage. So if you're starting in a country which doesn't have a great economy unless you have a lot of money to jumpstart it. Let's say your economy is kind of stagnant, unless you're the business owner, then you can access the tourism sector. You can access like, manufacturing, production, import, export sector, right? But the right to entry is say 10,000, 20,000 US to get a little factory together. Maybe doing freeze-dried coffee. I don't fucking know. Maybe we're just like, doing dry fruit, something like that, right? You're in a different country to England, right? So those things are still possible. They're not overly regulated. But you need that startup capital. You need that loan. You need that fund, right? You go to England, you work for a little bit, you come back to your country, and boom, there's your stimulus check. And I've known countless people when I grew up in England that did this. Countless from all over Europe. That's what they did. And it got so sick and disgusting that someone that I knew in the town, someone I went to school with, I grew up with, was actually killed for her life insurance by an immigrant.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Insane.
So, insane, right? So, this concept of rape and pillage is very, 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 very simple. Is that anyone out there, imagine you had fucking nothing. You've just got your ride and die chick. It's just you and your chick. You've got nothing. But if you had a $5,000 check, a $10,000 check, you could start a garage. You could start some kind of auto shop or something, and you could get the ball rolling. You could have your family, right? The door that opens is work abroad in England. Because you get the exchange rate, you can come back home. So you go over there, you work there 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, living like a dog, sleeping on the floor, working any job you fucking can, save it all up in a pot, just eating ramen noodle and shit like that. And then you collect all that money up, you go back to your country, you're king of the castle, right? You've got your stimulus check, you've got that startup money. Okay? While the Brits are left playing catch up, asking their policemen, "What's going on, mate? Oh, why haven't you fixed everything, mate?"
The Indians do that a lot here in America. Not like American Indians, but Indian Indians. Yeah, they come here, they get all kinds of tax incentives. They set up shop, and they send.
But they don't leave, right? No.
They don't leave. But they do export a significant amount of their money back to India. And
sure.
And they slowly import their families, which I'm not really super opposed, because they come over here and they found businesses and they start jobs and all this. They don't just come in, take your money, and leave. You know what I mean? Which is what.
Don't hear me wrong.
In the UK.
I'm anti-communist, I'm anti-socialist. What's happening in the UK is that it's robbed everyone I grew up with of their entrepreneurial spirit. They won't even bother trying to start a business. They won't bother trying. Why should they? They get universal credits or whatever. They get given money for doing nothing. It's a fucking crime. I never took the government money.
If they went and tried to form a business or to work or anything like that, then the government's just going to take in excess of half of their income in the form of taxes. So there's no incentive to go to work.
Yes. So I mean, the economy is like very, very poorly performing anyway, and a lot of it exists off like subsidiary and grant and loan and like sort of getting help to start, and then the business fails in its third year, and they just do it all again. But of the businesses that do succeed there and do survive, they do, it has the oldest stock market in the world. England does have it. And it has some of the most established stocks in the world. The problem is that the new generation of that, the new generation of wealth, has been failed, man. It's failed itself as well, though. It can't blame anyone. In my opinion, it needs to take a long, hard look in the mirror at itself. It has nothing to do with race or identity. It has to do really with, like, what you're doing with the world. If you were really accepting this thing of, like, you're not going to work, the government's going to figure it out. What?
Yeah.
What the hell are we, like, the government's going to give you your house, the government's going to give you everything else, and you don't have to give anything in return. That's utopia. Shit me not, that's what a lot of Brits, that's where their mind's at. That's their idea of the British dream. They don't get the American dream. They have this, like, utopia society thing where, like, a vending machine dispenses money to them, and they don't actually have to do anything. And that's perpetrated along with, like, excessive drinking and excessive living hedonistically. So they never really get down to it, because if you do get down to it and you're a tradesman, I don't speak for all Brits there. I'm just generalizing, like, the sort of modern zeitgeist, but the tradesmen make great money. They're fully booked, right? Because, like, if you're a plumber or electrician, you actually want to graft, you actually want to do fucking work, you make a fortune. But then you get a problem with the toffs, as we say, the higher level of that, over in England, which are controlling it. They think they're shrewd businessmen. Maybe they're not so patriotic, they're not so ethical. Even though they say to be, they do a different type of DEI hire, and they hire the cheapest bidder, you know what I mean? So they created that bubble, which we were talking about at the beginning of the foreigner coming in to take advantage. If they were going to pay $10 an hour to a Brit, the foreigner will do it for $7 or whatever. So for them, it's like a business decision. So that had also been going on for years. And then you don't have a political system in England with a constitution like America does. So they don't have a rule book written down, do they?
No.
So their politicians.
I think that Gen Z in America is falling into that same trap. If you look at the way they are.
Good observation. Yeah. That's what's happening, is they're being led astray into it. I mean, if you go onto Instagram, you go onto TikTok or any of these things, if you look at the stickers, I noticed this the other day, you look at the GIFs, they don't have anything for pro-capitalism. It's all pro-communism. Isn't that crazy? But communism doesn't work. Communism failed since the 70s. Collective farming failed. I see posts about it all the time, romanticizing farming. Farming is hard work. To make enough food to feed the city requires tractors. It's not something you do for fun in the backyard. There's all these videos of, like, often made by Brits. All right, mate, you gotta go grow your own food, mate,
Okay.
You gotta grow your food, mate.
That's a good point to bring up, because when you look at what happens too, is that every communist regime, and now we see these socialist countries that are kind of wanting to do the same thing with the farmers protesting in Denmark, and it was a Denmark?
Netherlands.
Yeah, and all those places. Essentially, what they're trying to do is get rid of most of the private farmers, and then do some, like, bullshit farming thing.
Yeah.
Which is exactly
You're bang on the money, bro.
Communism. Now.
And then they have influencers promote that bullshit with it. Yeah.
Yeah. So when we look at the founders of communism being the Soviet Union, all right, they decided they were going to do the whole collective farming bullshit. And from 1930 to 1933, they had the Soviet famine. And if you don't know what the Soviet famine is, I'm going to give you guys a rundown of it. This is from the Wikipedia article, so I'm just going to read it from that. The Soviet famine in 1930 and 1933 was a famine in the major grain producing areas.
Pull it up on stream.
Yeah.
Pull it on this. Get it on the stream so they can see it. And bring up also collectivism, which fell more recently in the 70s. They tried it again with Industrial Revolution. Like with newer tractors, they tried it as well. It failed. It doesn't work.
Just a moment.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
Let me get this pulled up for you guys. Working on it right now. All right, so we go to the Soviet famine in 1933. This is straight off Wikipedia, okay, guys? Soviet famine in 1930 to 1933 was a famine in the major grain-producing areas of the Soviet Union, including Ukraine and different parts of Russia, including Kazakhstan, Northern Caucasus, blah, blah, blah. Major factors include the forced collectivization of agriculture as part of the first five-year plan. Communists are always awesome at coming up with a 5-year plan or a 10-year plan or some bullshit like that, and forced grain procurement from farmers. These factors, in conjunction with a massive investment in heavy industry, decreased the agricultural workforce. Estimates concluded that 5.7 to 8.7 million people died from starvation across the Soviet Union. During this period, Soviet leader Joseph Stalin ordered the kulaks to be liquidated as a class. As collectivization expanded, the persecution of the kulaks, ongoing since the Russian Civil War, culminated in a massive campaign of state prosecution.
My boomer.
What's that?
Sorry, bro. Sorry to interrupt your flow. My boomer ass eyes can't see the font. It's so small.
Oh, okay.
And I can't see it. I want to read along with you. I want to see what they said on the right here. Just zoom it in a second, man.
Yeah, no worries. That's about as big as I can get it, and we can still read it. Or I can still read it.
This is good. No, that's actually even maybe too far. No, this is good. Good.
Okay, good deal.
Very good.
All
right.
Some kulaks responded with
Cannibalism.
acts of sabotage. Yeah. Some kulaks responded with acts of sabotage, such as killing their livestock and destroying their crops designated for consumption by factory workers. Despite the vast death toll in early stages, Stalin chose to continue the 5-year plan in collectivization. By 1934, the Soviet Union had established a base of heavy industry at the cost of millions of lives. Some scholars have classified the famines which occurred in Ukraine and Kazakhstan as genocides, which were committed by Stalin's government, targeting ethnic Ukrainians and Kazakhs. Others dispute the relevance of any ethnic motivation, as is frequently implied by that term, and focus on other factors such as class dynamics, which existed between the kulaks with strong interest in ownership of private property. These beliefs were in conflict with the ruling Soviet Communist Party's tenet, which was diametrically opposed to private property. Furthermore, the party's goal of rapid industrialization also played a role in worsening the famine, as it chose to continue industrial growth rather than remedy the famine. As famine spread throughout the Soviet Union, international media began to cover it, with Garrett Jones being the first Western journalist to report on the devastation. Yeah, I mean, these people, millions, starved. Millions. Right there's a picture of one. And every good socialist seems to love the idea of collective farming. You know what else they did too? This wasn't in this part. What they did too when they decided to wipe out the kulaks. All right. The next thing that they did was they brought in people from the city to work in these farms. And they
yes. Yeah. I remember this story.
Yeah. And they pretty much
hilarious.
said, here you go. Here's a farm. Go for it. Good luck, guys. With no type of farming education. Guess what? Shit didn't grow.
I remember working, doing some farm work in England years and years ago, and they had the similar thing. They had some kids from London come down that were willing to just do laboring through an agency, and he couldn't ball up twine at the end of the job. The rope, sorry. He couldn't ball up rope. Like, he couldn't wrap it around. I just held it in my palm, wrapped it around my elbow, wrapped it up, put it in the back of the truck. 1 rope, 2 rope, 3 ropes done, yeah? I said, okay, you finish up now. And I watched him, and I'd never seen anything like it. He picked up the rope, just a random part of the rope, like in the middle, and he sort of drew a circle in the air and then dropped it on the floor. He couldn't understand why it wasn't doing what I was able to do with it. Wow. Never used his hands before. It never,
Yeah, there's so many people, especially in, we see that in Britain. We also see it in the United States now, the latest generation of young Americans. So many of them don't know how to use their hands to make things, to do things. There's even kids now that have to have therapy to build the muscles in their hands and be able to hold a pencil because they've never been taught how to actually write.
Cringe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's never, I mean, it's just a joke.
Get this. I took my daughter to, they had open house at her school today, right?
Right.
So we go there, we're going to meet the teacher, check out her classroom, fill out a little bit of paperwork and all this. My daughter's in kindergarten. And the teacher sits down with me, is telling me the things that she needs over like the next week. Which, the school actually provides most things because our tax dollars here in my county fund the schools really well. They're always raising taxes because of it, but at the same time, kids get they get a free backpack, they get all their school supplies for free, they get all their meals for free. So it's kind of works out. But what I thought was hilarious was it said, make sure that within the next week or so that your daughter has some headphones.
Oh.
And I sat there for a second. I was, why does my kindergartner need headphones? Oh, because we use iPads in the classroom, and she gets an iPad.
Oh, so then it switches over to iPad learning, and then they go onto the Zoom call, and next they start to run a scam. No, I'm joking. It
Pyramid
wouldn't get that
scheme.
far. But a pyramid scheme. They start selling stocks. This is crazy. What kind of education are they getting? They need to be building stuff with Lego and Meccano and all these sort of things, and painting and clay and
Now, don't get me
soaring
wrong.
shit.
My kid has an iPad and she knows how to use it, right?
Yeah,
But
the same here.
I don't.
My son has his phone, computer, laptop, iPad. Yeah,
Yeah.
have it.
And
Sure.
she gets to use it, and she plays some games on there. I always make sure that's a learning game or something. But do kids need that in school? Shouldn't they be learning how to write with their hands, how to make letters with their hands with pencils?
Well, in the new world, if we're going to Mars, then maybe that's the way it is. We don't have any paper up there. We just have the iPads. Keep an open mind. If we're going to go into an interplanetary race, as they say, then maybe that's the way it is. Okay, but it seems fucking stupid to not be able to still use a pen and paper. They should at least like split up the time, at least have a dexterity class then. We can't take a leap forward and 2 steps back, you know? It's
Yeah.
it makes no fucking sense, man.
What
I mean,
happens when technology breaks down and they can't use a fucking pencil?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. 100
It's
on that,
kind of
man.
like
I
that
mean,
that old meme I used to see all the time. It said, America spent $1 million figuring out how to write a pen that could write in space. The Russians used a pencil.
I think it's just a meme, though. It's
I
not
think it's
really
just a
true,
meme.
right? I remember that.
But
I
that's
think it's
kind of
just a meme.
thinking that I'm at there is like, teach them how to use a pencil. You know, a pen, anything.
Next clip of the segment we'll take to look, but like there's a few other things to show on this British thing. There's a little bit more gas that we got to step on here.
Yeah, sure.
Is there's the next clip I sent you. It's basically what they say is absolute insanity. Islamic mobs are running the streets. They're running the streets of the UK.
Literally.
They're running the streets. This is an invasion, and the military should be brought in. Okay. So everyone knows Ryan is a combat vet. They're calling him. They say you need to look at this. Apparently this requires...
That's a lot of hair gel for the ones you can see. I mean, is it even legal to wear a mask in the UK? I don't think it is it?
Wear a mask, like full face covering like that?
Yeah.
Probably because of COVID. Like, how could they? They love it. They want you to cover your face.
Oh,
right?
yeah, it's a good.
No, I think you can wear it. I don't look. To me, it's a lot of people out in the same clothing, in black clothes. It's what Antifa do. It's what a protest looks like. I don't know what they're protesting right now, or if they're just a gang hanging around. But you're asking for the military to be brought in under what purpose here?
You know,
Why? Is people in a civilian area milling around? Like, what? Is there a crime being committed yet? If there's threats to the public and so on, report the crime. If the police don't act on that, escalate it to your congressman. Escalate it to your lord or whatever. But, like, I don't see here how we can say we need to bring in military. It's making a joke of yourself, guys. Do you not see when you're calling, like, we need the military now, we need the military, oh God, guys. We need some guns. We need a fucking military. I want to go and buy a pack of fags. I wanted to buy a pack of fags, mate. And there was this bloke there with a black hoodie on, mate, and I saw Arabic words. Fucking hell, get a grip. You should have gone traveling once or twice before. This is what happens. If you don't like it, then don't live in that city. Obviously, that is their community center where you have become a minority there. Sadly.
Yeah,
that's the case.
Become an alien in
wake
their
up.
own country.
Yeah. Wake up to the fact you're not going to be able to change it. I'm not trying to like demotivate you or anything. I'm trying to, in fact, inspire and tell you that there's great news. Is that that's a very English problem, and thank God it's an island.
Right.
For people who say this is coming to an American city all over, I disagree, heavily disagree. And
Well,
even if it
we do
was,
have
like,
things
we've
similar
seen
like this happen in places like Dearborn, where an overwhelming majority of the population is Muslim, but
okay,
they keep it there.
okay,
They don't. It's not like
it's a
coming out.
community, right?
It's the community.
Yeah, like you have a little Italy, you have like a Korea, but the thing is, America's a big enough place. They're not marching around a town and it like worrying other people. On the other hand, you got to understand these guys that are marching around, they're getting a boner for this, and you're giving it to them, and you're playing into it, and it's fucking pathetic. You're giving them a boner because they can't believe how fragile and how pathetic you are. Because I guess you never went. They've never seen weakness like this. Because if you go to their towns, you go to their cities, it's rough, bro. Ooh, it's rough. I've seen a guy slap an infant to the floor, not an infant, like a toddler, for selling cards the wrong way in Egypt. And no one gave a fuck.
No.
I was fucking heartbroken, man. No one gave a fucking shit. No one cared. No one cared.
No. Same when I was in Iraq. You'd see kids just have the mortal shit beat out of them. No one cared. Doesn't matter.
It's a different culture. A different culture, a very, very harsh culture, a very harsh reality. And the thing you got to see is that when you're around them and you are feeding into it or saying that, if you're around another culture, I shouldn't say them, I'm just saying another culture. It could be, whatever culture, right? Whenever you're around them, you gotta just understand they're coming from a different place. But everyone, generally speaking, wants the same things of good food, have a good business, and probably have a good time. Like listen to some music, get drunk or whatever. That's what they do to relax. So all of this like fucking hysteria of like, oh my God, they're here and all this, you're just feeding into it and making it like a big deal. Like at the end of the day, they just want to get on with whatever the fuck they want to get on with. If that means being super orthodox, super Sharia, no, I'm using the wrong word here. Super holy? What is the right word here, Ryan? I don't even know Muslim well enough, but when they're super, super strict to it, is it orthodox? But orthodox is just for like Christian and stuff, right? Excuse my ignorance here. But what do you call it when you're like a devout follower, right?
Devout Muslim, yeah.
A devout guy, right? Doesn't that mean he like doesn't drink and doesn't like do much apart from like pray and live a very modest life? So if that's the case and that's what's going on, just to just sort of level it up. Like, why do you need to be up in arms in this yet? No one got shot yet. Wait, some kids are dead. Let's not forget that. And that's where we are not focusing right now. We are focusing on, again, right? We haven't seen anything like that yet. And we don't know if it's going to happen. Like, we have another video which we're going to hear from their side. This is the last one I'm going to play on the topic. And we're going to hear what they're saying about it. Now,
you know what this whole thing in Britain reminds me of? Is when you're watching like those National Geo films about nature and stuff, and you got two groups of monkeys that are facing off against each other, and they're like throwing dirt, and they'll occasionally throw a rock, but neither side really wants to get into it. They just charge back and forth each other.
I lost you for a second there. Yeah. The last link I'm sending you is you're going to hear what is like a father from their side, like a voice of he doesn't want to riot, but yeah, he's from the other side. So we're going to see, it's a troll video. He rage baited, but let's see what he's got to say about it.
Tommy Robinson, you've been targeting our mosques. Now we're going to target your church. Of course we ain't going to target your church. We're not like that. That's exactly what you want. That's exactly the kind of response that you're looking for. You're trying to push the Muslim community. You're trying to agitate us, and we're not going to give it you. This church has been here for as long as the Muslim community in Stoke has been here. We've never targeted churches, and we've always shown respect for places of worship. So then why is it that you're targeting our mosques? Why is it that you're targeting our Muslim women and our Muslim community? It's because your Zionist backers, they've got a certain agenda that they're trying to push. Oh, British people, wake up. Understand, the establishment are using Tommy Robinson as a little pawn to try and cause a division between the Muslim community and the rest of society. And we're not going to buy it. Message to the British people, do your own research. We're not bad people. You want to save your children, we want our children to be safe as well. You want to live a good standard of life, we want to live a good standard of life as well. And a message to the Muslim community, do not get sucked up and do not get used and taken advantage of by reacting in a way that the media and the politicians want you to react. Stay safe, defend your mosques, and do not cross the boundaries that Islam has written for you. Tommy Robinson, you've been...
Well, I think it's a very valid statement.
A lot of really
Yeah.
valid points there, right?
Yeah, that's a
But
that's a
we're
voice of
glossing
reason.
over. We are glossing over the fact that there has been extreme crimes committed, and law and order is not being upheld. And I feel that
That
people
cannot be
need to
ignored.
have, the people need to have a public, open investigation into how policing's done in the UK and what it means for the civilian who's paying so much in tax. It cannot be ignored. He's paying so much in tax. When is he going to be deputized? When is firearm training going to be allowed? Because people don't feel safe, and they don't feel that this type of policing works. Social policing is a failure, in my opinion. There's been massive losses ever since it's been brought in. We lost buildings that we defended for 2 world wars. Did you know that in the UK? They
Yeah.
lost buildings that had survived 2 world wars and then were burnt down last time rioting kicked off. Where was policing then? Where is it now?
Nowhere.
The same way is nowhere, except now the firearm officers stood down last year and went for jobs in the States or wherever they could get employed and use their skill set. Because why are you going to work in a country which essentially hasn't got its officers' backs?
I wouldn't.
There's no way.
And you're seeing the same thing like that in the United States. Nobody wants to be a police officer now. Police recruitment is way down. Everybody has realized that in the modern era, it's not worth it because when something goes sideways, the people that say they have your back are going to be the first people to run you over.
Yeah, they're going to check you under the bus, yeah. Like here, in America, it's always the chance of a lawsuit, always the chance of getting sued for your
Liability, man.
Yeah.
And you know what? The only people who keep getting richer from that are the lawyers.
Oh, yeah. Which in turn are the Democrats and the House of Reps,
Yes.
which we've been looking at recently. So you see how the circle connects and how it goes around. Ultimately, what this guy's saying, if it's true, that he wants to draw a line under it and they don't want a problem with others, don't bring a problem to us. Like they'll respect the churches. They understand what it is. He wants to build the community, stop trying to provoke it. They're not going to retaliate. If that's true, and they don't mean a holy war, and we can hold them to that and build something, hey, it could work. It could fucking work.
Yeah.
But
if that's the case.
If it rests on a big if. There also has to be, I believe, for this to really be fair, I want to see a Muslim court which brings that boy to justice in the same way that they see fit, in the Sharia sense, right? So however they see fit of it, that murderer that has killed infants has to be tried in the same, they have to live by the same standards. That's all I'm saying. If we're going to have all this, we can't have a charade. There's some other memes that have been going around that that's not the case. That a Brit was locked up for 50 days for something he posted on Facebook. They don't have the First Amendment. He was locked up for all this, while another youth was let go, or he had 108 days probation or something. I don't have the meme to hand. But the point of the matter was that Brits were being locked up for shit they posted online. This other guy committed rape and was let free. A complete double standard. So when they talk about this 2-tier policing system, you have to understand is a policeman is not going to divulge sensitive information outside, especially as you could be agent provocateur. He doesn't know who he's talking to. He doesn't know who's listening to the stream. And then saying you have better information on like a car that's going to be attacked or something. Although, yeah, that's useful information. I don't think there's ever really been a time of policing where like you can call the police station and say, there's a tweet which says this is going to happen. Like, that is Minority Report shit. That's and that's where Brits need to get a reality check. That policing doesn't work like that. The reason the cops are so bemused by you little soy boys is you're going, oh, he tweeted something nasty online. Go and arrest him, officer. Go and lock him up and put him in the dungeons. and feed him bread, and I'll get some bread. They're fucking crazy, man. They're just, that's what it sounds like to me. They need, like, the Brits need to just get a grip. And I don't really see where, like, okay, so there was another clip of, like, a load of these kids swarming around a bar. And then they kicked the window, and someone went out to fight them. And, like, again, I should have prepared the clip, but I'll just give you a quick rundown. Someone tried to punch him, and then he fell to the ground. And then they all swarmed on him, and they kicked him. It looked really staged. Maybe he was getting his head kicked in. I don't know. I saw way worse bar fights in the last year, and they were not publicized on TV or anything. You know what I mean? Like,
I've
seen
been
way
involved
worse
in way
things.
worse bar fights.
It was like, what the fuck? Everyone was like 90 pounds. They were all fucking, yeah.
They're all
just
Twinks.
like, yeah. On both sides, man. And it's just feeding into it. It's like, okay, you're all standing around like Antifa. Okay, you're really scary.
If they go to war with each other,
What?
they're going to go out there with what are those pellet guns that people use now? The airsoft. They'll go out there and have an airsoft war. Oh no, I'm out of the war, guys.
Oh, fuck! He just shot me with a fucking BB gun.
You think I'll
Oh,
get
bloody hell! I
disability?
need to go to the I need to go to the NHS, mate. I've just been shot by a fucking paintball gun. No, I got hit by a fucking what do they call it? Oh,
Plastic
a
BB.
football. A plastic BB, a football hit me in my balls. Fucking crazy. Yeah, so they're all crying
Speaking
about
of which,
it.
now
on
that
Twitter.
brought up a funny story. This is completely off topic. Years ago, I was playing paintball with some friends of mine, and my best friend had the single shot little pump action paintball gun. Another buddy of mine was running down the hill with the semi-auto one. Guy with the single shot one fires around and drills him right in the sack with it.
Right.
And he goes rolling down the rest of the hill. Now, the best part of this story is we went to check on him the next day. And here he is at home. And it hit him so hard in the nads that he had to have his sack in a sling. And his nuts were swollen up like grapefruits. they're just hanging there in a little sling. And I'm like, oh my God, paintball did that to you? Sorry, that was what came to mind when you talked about getting shot in the nads with the BB. I had to share that story.
Fuck, man.
Yeah,
was he
was
able
down
to
for-
father? He was done for, or
No.
He was like,
he had
Was
a
he
kid
able to
later, but he spent like
Yeah,
4 or
man.
5 days there with his banana hammock, just holding his boys up. He looked like he was in a rough spot.
I can't really think of much worse than that sucks. Well, good to hear he's okay and he recovered from that.
I wish I had a picture.
I'm good. I'm glad that you don't, to be honest. But we're on to the next thing then. So that's the Brits. It's a crazy thing. They want the cops to what? Be thought police. They want the army to be involved.
It's kind of funny
I don't
that
understand.
they are so mortified by the fact of firearm ownership.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they want the army to come in with guns to
Yeah.
settle the unrest. Because why do they want the army to come in? Because the army has guns.
Yeah, they don't seem to understand how it works. Like, the thing you need to be really promoting here is the right to self-defense and the right to you being deputized. Enough of social policing, end of socialism, right to being a private, to having a private life. Enough of this social life in the sense of that. It's fine to socialize. We're all social animals. Of course, we want to go and hang out at the bar or whatever. But this idea of own nothing and you'll be happy and share it with everyone and carpool and the cops are always there to give you a hand job or whatever. Like,
It doesn't work.
Fuck, man. Just get real. It's not ever going to work.
It has
So
never
do you
worked in
wanna
the
s-
history of man.
Never work. Communism never worked. We've gone over it. I think that's it. Fucking it's settled anyway. We've shown collectivism doesn't work. That, it caused a famine in the Soviet Union. More recently, in the Chinese era in the 1970s, it completely failed as well. Even with the advent of very powerful industrialized agriculture, such as large moldboard plows and tilling, heavy tilling operations, heavy grain operations. Even with that, communism, collectivism is a failure. So anyone preaching socialism is silliness. look at the largest communist regimes. They are hybrid capitalist regimes which rely upon America's capitalism and globalism, in quotes. It's not really a real thing. They rely on the import-export trade of various different jurisdictions. And that's, if we want to call it globalism, we can. I believe we should call it trade. But
Right.
yeah, we can call it whatever we want, but we could just call it trade, and countries can trade with one another. We can tax and tariff on that as that country sees fit, as that county and state sees fit, that what works for their locale demographic point in time, the way the wind is blowing, and not be like tied to some kind of massive overlord, which wasn't elected, to announce to us the latest decrees. It's just feudalism. Socialism's feudalism. Is fucking bollocks. It's bullshit. It needs to stop, mate. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about it, man. Let's run into the hearing, because the assassination.
Right, socialism is feudalism. You're exactly right. That's essentially what it is. Because communism is to rule by a dictator. The same thing as being ruled by a king. It's the same shit. It's just got a different name. And it's all bullshit. All of it.
All bullshit. So, the investigation now into the assassination. We're straight onto it. It's something that's bothering me. And this stream has been up for a minute, and we're so distracted by the whole England's burning,
it is a huge
Gaza.
distraction. Maybe that's part of it. Maybe that's why they've got us all talking about it. Maybe that's why it's happening. And nothing is really happening between the two groups, because it's just a huge distraction from the rest of the bullshit. Because everybody's kind of forgotten about the whole Trump deal. They've forgotten about, they've almost forgotten about him taking a bullet.
Mm-hmm. Well, no one's talking about it anymore, are they?
No.
You know what I mean?
No one's talking about it. It's over. Done. Now it's all Kamala and Harry Balls. Or, I'm sorry,
walls.
Walls.
We're gonna do walls another day. It's boring. There's really nothing there. There's nothing really to report about walls. I don't know. Like, he turned, Minnesota into a complete shithole? Yeah. What else can we say? Like, he's
an awful governor. He's just the type of person that would be picked for someone as awful as Kamala Harris. He's one of the bottom of the bin selections too, because honestly, any of the top tier picks for VP, if you said, hey, we want you to come and run as Kamala Harris's running mate, if they had any type of brain whatsoever, they would look at whoever asked them that and say, that is political suicide, and I would like to stay in this career, and there's no way in fuck I'm going to run with Kamala Harris. It's just not going to happen, because I'll never have a political career after this. And that's pretty much what's happening. That's why they got Walls, because he's just a chode. He's a boomer.
He's a boomer.
And I'm going to hit on...
He's a teacher.
Let me hit on Walls a little bit, too. Yeah. Okay, he's a veteran, but he's a deployment dodger.
Okay.
So
do you mean he didn't see the shit?
I mean that he didn't see the shit. I meant that he, like, retired when his unit got deployment orders.
Oh, okay.
And then he goes on to, like, yeah.
Oh. So he was never deployed?
No, man. No, he's a deployment dodger. Fuck Walls. He's nothing. Dude's like, oh, we're getting deployed. I'm checking out. Time for me to retire. You know what I mean? And he's even got, like, the boomer picture, the boomer gun guy picture with all the fucking orange on with the orange hat holding the shotgun. Hell yeah, buddy. The only thing you need is a 12-gauge shotgun and a bolty boy. And if you can't get it done with one shot, by God, you ain't going to get it done. And your pistol better be in 45 ACP, the Lord's caliber, 2 world wars.
Oh, you better. Yeah.
So that's kind of dude he is.
AR-15s.
Yeah, that's why he's okay with standing up there saying, "Oh yeah, we're going to take your guns. We don't need weapons of war on the street." This asshole probably doesn't even know what a weapon of war looks like.
A weapon of poor.
Weapon of poor. Yeah, that's what happens. They want to take the weapons of war away so they can use their weapon of poor on us to make us all fucking poor.
Totally, bro. Totally. Let's start this investigation before we get too
Yeah, I got
we
totally
have got a
sidetracked
lot
by
of gas on Walls, man. Walls has got the balls. Let's go full screen.
Balls
Change
got
the
the
screen.
balls. That's right.
I want this full screen. Can we go full screen?
Yeah.
Do we do
yeah.
the new scene? Nice.
Yeah, let me get it full screen just a second. I can make it real big.
Really? Do you need a minute to get ready?
Yeah, I got to give it a little warm up. You know, that's the only
Do that
way.
little warm up.
That's the only way it gets big.
As long as it's not winter.
Let me take a few things off here so that Jesus.
Now you're making it sound even worse now, dude.
Yeah. Let me take a few things off, man. You know, it'll be okay. Just don't worry about it.
You're sounding incredibly French now.
Yeah. What? Just go with it. It'll be okay.
Oui, monsieur. Is this the new setup?
Huh?
I thought. Is this? If I fuck the stream now?
No. It's me doing things.
Oh, right.
I'm making this to where to cover the whole screen.
That's the shit I'm talking about, bro. Fuck yeah. Then we can watch with some popcorn.
Yeah. So
Someday,
just bear with
guys.
me. I'm kind of a
No, it's
boomer,
not.
so it takes me a minute. I'm not like a wall-sized boomer, but I'm still a little bit of a boomer. So it takes me a minute to click through things when I'm trying to do them quicker.
I thought it was Wednesday then, and I got everyone excited. It's not.
There we go. There we
Yeah.
go. How's that? That looks pretty good.
The stream. Oh wait, the stream's just gonna update now.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It's got a few seconds. That should have it. Us in there.
Fucking.
That's got us in there like
in there.
swimwear.
Yeah, in there like swimwear. Maybe chat a little bit smaller now, like just 10%,
Yeah.
just so
Yeah,
it's
we'll
not
make
cropping
chat.
over the bonnet. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll take care of chat. Hold on, guys. We're going to make you a little bit smaller.
There's a little bit.
Just a little bit smaller. All right. Now we're warmed up. We got everything nice and big.
Okay.
Let's hit play.
All right. Let's hit play.
Order. Just over 2 weeks ago, a gunman fired shots at former President Donald Trump. This assassination attempt wounded the former president and caused the death of Corey Comptor, a husband, father of two, and former fire chief, who was attending the rally with his family. David Dutch and James Copenhaver were also attending the rally and were also injured in the attack. So let me be clear. This was an attack on our democracy. Americans should be able to attend a political rally and express their political beliefs without fear of violence. And political candidates for our nation's highest office should be confident that their safety will never be compromised for their service. And although we're still learning about the shooter's motive, this attack was a shocking reminder that the threat
Learning
of
about it.
political
Hell, we
violence
never even
is
heard
alive
anything about it.
and well in our country. By all accounts, this was an inexcusable security and planning failure. And we need to get all of the facts about what happened that day.
All right, so let me ask you. You may know something that I don't, Paul. I've not heard a single word about this shooter's motive from any source or seen it anywhere. Have you?
No. I haven't heard a fucking dickies, mate. I haven't heard anything. No, nothing.
I mean,
nothing at all.
if we're still learning about it. I literally haven't heard anything about it. Like nothing.
No, nada.
So that's interesting. Like, okay, well, if you know something, what is it? I'm kind of curious about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like this hearing was a week ago, right?
Yeah.
Something like that, and it pretty much gone under my radar. I saw it earlier today while I was doing a few chores, and yeah, that's why I shared it with you now. I was looking forward to going through it. So let's see what's inside of here.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's going to be
I
some
just
good-
saw
I got
that.
a-
That
I
was
got a
like a
feeling.
real big question to me because I haven't heard anything about this shooter's motive. I haven't heard shit about him. It's been real quiet. So just want to double check on that.
Yeah, I haven't heard jack shit, man. This is it. This hearing, I think we're about to. I'm on the edge of my seat.
And how we can ensure
yeah.
an attack like this is never
Literally.
allowed to happen again. Today's panel of witnesses leads the men and women who protect our top leaders and are investigating this crime. And I want to thank them both for being here today, as well as the Secret Service and FBI for a very productive and informative briefing with our committees last week. Today, our witnesses will help us begin to answer critical questions and get the information that we need to implement reforms that are clearly needed to strengthen security protocols for the U.S. Secret Service and the people who receive their protection. The Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee has already begun that work. This discussion comes in the midst of a bipartisan investigation that Senator Paul and I have launched, in which we launched shortly after the assassination attempt took place. Our teams are still collecting critical information, speaking to law enforcement, and piecing together the details of this event. This past weekend, a bipartisan team of our investigators, along with key staff from Senators Blumenthal and Senator Johnson's office, traveled to Pennsylvania to speak with local law enforcement officials, review critical information from security officials who were working alongside the Secret Service, and to see the site firsthand. And I want to thank the incredibly brave local law enforcement officers in and around Butler County who responded that afternoon and who met with my staff this past weekend. They have helped to answer tough questions, as well as discuss in detail how the event actually unfolded. I also want to thank the owners of Butler Country Farm Show and the American Glass Research for allowing my staff and law enforcement to walk the grounds and examine the roof of the building the gunman was able to assess. We greatly appreciate your assistance. Security and Governmental Affairs Committee to swear in witnesses. So if our two witnesses could please stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony?
Hi, I'm JT, and I made Result Hunter, the search engine for conservatives. Let me just tell you what it does. First of all,
actions of the men and women of the United States Secret Service on July 13th. Our special agents shielded the former president with their bodies while shots were still being fired. Selflessly, willing to make the ultimate sacrifice without hesitation. I am extremely proud of these actions and those taken by the counter-sniper team to neutralize the threat that prevented further loss of life. And I applaud the actions of our tactical teams that responded so quickly. I would also like to express my gratitude to our federal, state, and local partners. We rely on these critical relationships, which have developed over decades of daily collaboration to secure protective events and conduct criminal investigations. As you're aware, there are multiple ongoing investigations of the attack and the security failures that occurred that day. I pledge my full support to those inquiries so the Secret Service, your committees, and the American people have a thorough and complete understanding of what happened leading up to and during July 13th. I will not wait for the results of those findings to assess where we failed that day. I have taken and will continue to take immediate steps to ensure we do not repeat those failures. Since my appointment as the acting director 1 week ago, I identified gaps in our security on July 13th and have implemented corrective actions. One of my first actions as acting director was traveling to the Butler Farm Show site to better understand how our protection failed. I went to the roof of the AGR building where the assailant fired shots, and I laid in a prone position to evaluate his line of sight. What I saw.
Sorry, I just paused it for a second because I keep getting really distracted by this guy's booger whistle every time he breathes to say something else. It's like really distracting and messing with my autism at this point.
Made me ashamed. As a career law enforcement officer and a 25-year veteran with the Secret Service, I cannot defend why that roof was not better secured. To prevent similar lapses from occurring in the future, I directed our personnel to ensure every event site security plan is thoroughly vetted by multiple experienced supervisors before it is implemented. It is clear to me that other protective enhancements could have strengthened our security at the Butler event. As such, I have directed the expanded
a
use of
drone that you
unmanned
can't deny?
aerial systems at protective sites to help detect threats on roofs and other elevated threats. I've also directed resources to facilitate our protective site communications, particularly our communications with our state and local partners. In addition, I have instructed the asset request for Secret Service protective details to be approved expeditiously and have ordered the maximum use of requested personnel at protective sites to address this heightened security environment. I've heard your calls for accountability, and I take them very seriously. And given the magnitude of this failure, the Secret Service's Office of Professional Responsibility is reviewing the actions and decision-making of Secret Service personnel in the lead-up to and on the day of the attack. If this investigation reveals that Secret Service employees violated agency protocols, those employees will be held accountable to our disciplinary process. With respect to congressional investigations and requests for information, I instructed my staff to provide full cooperation and respond expeditiously on a continuing basis to ensure you have the information you need to conduct your critical oversight. In my testimony before you today, I will provide details on the Secret Service's advanced security planning for the Butler Farm Show site. Facts as we know them regarding the incident itself, known breakdowns in executing the security plan, and corrective actions that the agency is taking to ensure that nothing like this happens again. But I do not believe that inadequate time to plan for this event was a factor in the failure. As you saw in my written statement, I am prepared to provide an overview of the security planning leading up to and during the July 13th attack. However, I would like to point out that based on what I know right now, neither the Secret Service counter-sniper teams nor members of the former president's security detail had any knowledge that there was a man on the roof of the AGR building with a firearm. It is my understanding those personnel were not aware the assailant had a firearm until they heard gunshots. Prior to that, they were operating with the knowledge that local law enforcement was working an issue of a suspicious individual prior to the shots being fired. I regret that information was not passed to Congress and the public sooner with greater frequency. And I fear this lack of information has given rise to multiple false and dangerous conspiracy theories about what took place that day. And I want to debunk these theories. Let me address one conspiracy directly. The Secret Service counter-sniper neutralized the assailant within seconds after the assailant fired his weapon. That counter-sniper had full discretion to use deadly force to stop an attacker and did not need to seek authorization to fire. I am immensely proud of the selfless dedication of our employees to the mission. Every day across the globe, the men and women answer the call to protect our nation's leaders, and the standard is no fail for a reason. During our current high operational tempo, I want and I need to ensure that the Secret Service workforce are uplifted so they can focus on carrying out the mission. They have my full support, and I'm confident in their abilities to ensure the safety and security of the people we protect. They are worthy of trust and confidence, and they deserve your support as well as the support of the American people. Chairman Peters, Chairman Durbin, Ranking Member Paul, Ranking Member Graham, and members of the committees, thank you for the opportunity to testify at this joint hearing. I will submit the remainder of my statement for the record, and I will answer your questions.
We had hundreds of people join the USCCA yesterday, so I'm here in our fulfillment.
Thank you, Mr. O. Our second witness is Paul Abate. Mr. Abate is the Deputy Director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation at the Department of Justice. In this role, Deputy Director Abate oversees all FBI domestic and international investigative and intelligence activities. Prior to his appointment as Deputy Director, he has had a distinguished 3 decades within the FBI leading counterterrorism efforts, and most recently as the Associate Deputy Director of the FBI, where he's responsible for the management of all FBI personnel, budget, administration, as well as infrastructure. Mr. Bate, thank you for appearing before the committee here today. You are recognized for your opening remarks.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, Chairman Peters and Durbin, ranking members Paul and Graham, and distinguished members of the committee. It is a privilege to appear before you today to discuss the FBI's investigation of the attempted assassination of former President Trump on July 13th in Butler, Pennsylvania. Before going further, I want to again offer my and our condolences to the victims of this heinous attack, to the family and loved ones of heroic firefighter and father Corey Comparator, to Mr. Dutch, to Mr. Koppenhaver, who continue to recover, and to former President Trump, who was also struck by a bullet fired from the shooter's rifle. Our thoughts and prayers are with each of them and their families and loved ones. Within minutes of the attack, the FBI field office in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, received notification of the assassination attempt and responded to the scene immediately with a surge of resources, quickly moving forward on the investigation. From the outset, the FBI has been investigating this attack as an assassination attempt and an act of domestic terrorism. Our team continues to conduct a full, thorough, and objective investigation and will continue to follow all leads and avenues of investigation to logical conclusion, leaving no stone unturned. While it's not typical to provide details of an ongoing investigation, this, as we all know, is an extraordinarily tragic set of circumstances of the utmost national importance, making it essential to inform the American public and Congress what is known right now with full transparency. The investigation remains focused, of course, on determining motive, identifying any potential co-conspirators or others with knowledge of the attack, and building out a timeline of shooter Thomas Crook's actions in advance of and during the attack. Thus far, though absolutely nothing has been ruled out, the investigation has not identified a motive, nor any co-conspirators or others with advanced knowledge. To date, the FBI team has conducted more than 460 interviews, executed search warrants, including at the shooter's residence, and seized electronic media to include phones, laptops, hard drives, and thumb drives. Legal process has been issued to dozens of companies, and we've received more than 2,000 tips from the public. The full resources of the FBI have been brought to bear in furtherance of the investigation. Agents, analysts, professional staff, experts. I've personally visited the site of this horrific attack and seen firsthand the work of FBI Pittsburgh and our partners on the front line, and want to thank all involved for their ongoing and tireless efforts to get the answers that we need and to deliver justice. Specialized resources deployed included evidence response teams, victim services specialists, laboratory and operational technology division resources to process physical and digital evidence, a shooting reconstruction team. Additionally, our explosive experts have analyzed the 3 IEDs recovered, 2 from the shooter's vehicle, 1 from the family residence. And our behavioral analysis unit, importantly, is helping to build a profile of the shooter to include his mental state. Next, I want to provide a brief highlighted overview of the timeline that has been established to date through witness interviews and other information. Again, this is our understanding at present and is subject to change and further refinement as more facts are collected. On July 3rd, the rally in Butler, Pennsylvania was announced. On July 6th, the shooter registered to attend the rally and performed a search for, quote, how far was Oswald from Kennedy? On July 7th, the shooter traveled from his home to the Butler Farm Show grounds and remained there for approximately 20 minutes. We assessed this show.
Wait a minute. You can tell me what this dude's search history was off of his computer, but we still don't know what the actual motive was? Come on now. Don't that sound fucked up to you, Paul? I mean, what's going on here?
It doesn't make any sense. Yeah, I'm just listening along. I can't believe it. No comment on the chat as well. What the fuck, man?
Yeah. You know the dude's search history, but you can't tell us, the public, what the motivation behind it was. This is starting to smell a whole lot like the whole Nashville shooting shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, when are we gonna find out? Right? When are we gonna find out what's going on? Are they gonna divulge that? Like, when I watched it when I was on the farm earlier, if we skip forward, maybe it's the retort to this, but he gets really grilled. he gets really grilled about it. Like he was even saying like, what, we can't look inside of his phone. It's great to have privacy, but we can't actually look inside the shooter's phone. We don't have that yet. Forensics doesn't have it.
I thought the NSA had spent billions of dollars to break into Apple phones because of the Boston bomber thing. I thought they had that capability.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So what's the problem?
Apparently not so. Apparently not so.
I doubt he's using a Mac at home. He's probably got some fucking eBay PC that they can get into. I'm sure they've been able to find something. I mean, they got his search history, so obviously they were able to get onto his computer. They got his fucking search history. He's got to be talking on it somewhere about what his motivation was for this, or left a letter or some shit. And what's the story with the IEDs too, man? What was the plan with the IEDs? I want to know what the IEDs were for. You know what I think? This is tinfoil hat time right here. I think what the IEDs were was, I don't think homie was alone in this, and that he was convinced that, hey, after you take the shot, you set off the car bomb, and that'll give the distraction for you to get out of here. And that wasn't the plan all along. That's just what they told Mr. Useful Idiot, and he was going to get smoked the whole time, and they knew it. Dead men tell no tales. Maybe that's tinfoil hat time. But I just
we need a tinfoil hat scene when we go down the rabbit hole, maybe. Yeah. But that's a theory. That's a theory.
Yeah.
I can't prove any of it. Allegedly,
can't prove it. It's all hypothetical. But that's kind of what makes sense to me.
Yeah.
All right, let's roll on. Let's see if he says some. Do you want to skip on? Or you want to keep letting it roll from here?
Let's skip a little bit. This guy's kind of stalling. I want to see when one of the senators actually grills. You know what I mean? Like I want to see him being put on the coals.
Okay, here we go.
Today, particularly given the general absence of other information to date from social media and other sources of information that reflect on the shooter's potential motive and mindset. These are the facts, in part, that the investigation has revealed to date. While the shooter is dead, our work is very much ongoing and urgent. Thank you, and I look forward to answering any and all questions.
No shit, he's dead. He caught a bullet.
When I told Trump about this, he urged me to get this message out to as many true patriots as I can.
Thank you, Mr. Abate. We'll now proceed. Chairman Durbin and Ranking Member Graham will ask the first two questions. I will then ask question Ranking Member Paul, and then after that we will alternate between members of the judiciary, recognized by Chairman Durbin, and members of the Homeland Security Committee, recognized by me. With that, Senator Durbin, you're recognized for your questions.
Thank you, Senator Peters. I would like to begin by making a statement. It's not in the form of a question, and you'll understand why when I say it. In 20 days, we're going to start the Democratic National Convention in Chicago. I have been briefed by the law enforcement agencies of plans for security for that event. Tens of thousands of people will be there, including some of the highest-ranking politicians in the United States. I trust that both of your agencies can answer in the affirmative if I ask you whether you're actively engaged in working with the development of security plan, taking into consideration the lessons of July 13th.
Senator, that is 100% yes from the Secret Service.
Yes, from the FBI as well, sir. We've been working on this for well over a year in preparation.
I'm not going to ask for details for obvious reasons, but I do want to ask a question about the Secret Service staffing. Congress has nearly doubled the budget for the Secret Service over the last 10 years, from $1.8 billion in fiscal year 2014 to $3 billion in fiscal year 2024. Despite this large increase in funding, the number of agents in protective operations has fallen from 4,027 to 3,671 during that same time period, an approximate 9% reduction. Acting Director Rowe, what accounts for protective operations losing 356 agents over the past 10 years?
So, Senator, with respect to where we are today on staffing, and then I'll address the 10-year where we were. In this year alone, we are going to end the year on the positive of 200 plus agents. That's the first time in a number of years that we've been able to do that. Part of that was gaining some efficiencies in our hiring process. But what I want to re-emphasize is that we have not dropped standards. Only 2% of every applicant actually makes it through the hiring process. We are filling our classes at the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center. We are doing this ramp up as part of what lies ahead of us with the LA Olympics in 2028. With respect to what has happened in years prior, this is a difficult and challenging job, being a Secret Service agent. Living your life by somebody else's schedule, constantly away from your family, constantly having to meet increased operational and investigative demands, which we gladly do. But it's not for everyone. And I think there are times where people have to make tough choices and they decide to leave the agency. But that doesn't mean that they were any less of an agent or that they weren't committed to the mission, because we are all committed to being patriots and serving our country and protecting our nation's highest leaders. I think there was a variety of factors. Some of it was the pandemic. Some of it was, the economy or other opportunities. We have people that are very skilled in cyber that often leave the job. Some of the protective skills that they acquire are also in demand in the private sector. But some of the mechanisms that we've put in place just in the last year is also retaining our workforce. And that's what we are focused on right now.
The Government Accountability Office has determined that restaffing from these losses have been slowed due to a number of factors, including the years-long background checks for prospective agents and the assignments agents must work through before being assigned to protection. Given these constraints, what steps have you taken to improve recruitment?
So we're actually putting out targeted recruitment opportunities. So we've just recently put it out for within our uniform division for our counter sniper unit, our hazardous agent medical emergency response unit, our counter assault team on the special agent side. So we're actually trying to gather the best and the brightest. And I will tell you that we are having great success with a lot of these vacancies. But what I want to reiterate is that, for example, on the counter assault vacancy, we had 700 applicants that applied for this. Really what we will glean after they make it through the process, and they have to be able to hold a top secret SCI clearance. If we realize 15 out of that tranche, that's a 2% pass rate. So it is very competitive, and we are trying to make sure that we are getting the best and the brightest without dropping standards.
He's a regular in
One
the
last
comments
question
on
for either one of you.
Haven't seen him in
What is the purpose
live
of a
too much,
rangefinder?
welcome,
And once
Simon.
this assassin was identified as using a rangefinder, wasn't that proof positive that he was a dangerous individual?
So I'll say, Senator, that obviously somebody is trying to determine where they are in proximity to a location, a fixed location. I'll defer to my colleague here, but I believe it was a recreation or sports related. I thought I had read that it was a golf range finder. Nonetheless, it still would have provided him the ability to provide the distance that he was away from his intended target.
Close enough.
Wasn't that enough?
As far as raising suspicion,
Yes.
I think he was identified as being suspicious by local law enforcement.
And nothing happened.
Well, I know that local law enforcement was attempting to locate him.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Member Graham.
Thank you. Let's go back to the resources. Do you need more money?
Senator, listen, there isn't a single branch or a single agency in the executive branch that that needs more money. Everyone would take more resources. We've had a great relationship with the Department of Homeland Security, the Office of Management and Budget.
Do you feel constrained to ask for more resources by anybody?
No, sir, we don't. And actually, we have a great relationship with our appropriators and obviously the authorizing committees, and they have always looked out for the Secret Service.
So I would encourage you to think big when it comes to resourcing the department in light of what happened here. At the time of the shooting, the Iranians were threatening high-level American officials, including President Trump, right?
And over the whole world rose a clamor of hysterical joy.
World War I promised us a
Senator, it's widely
Is that right,
known.
FBI?
Yes, Senator, that's 100%
Did that
correct.
factor into the security footprint?
So, Senator, what I will say is that it is widely known that the Iranians do not like us. I would refer you to the National
Well, it's not
Security.
that they don't like us. They threatened to kill certain people, and they named them.
Correct, sir. But I can't publicly
It's
comment.
not like, I hate America. I'm going to kill these 3 guys.
Right. I cannot publicly comment, sir, on.
Well, they publicly comment on it. I mean, it's not
But
what
Senator,
you
what
think.
I'm trying to say is I cannot publicly comment
Okay.
on what
Fair enough.
intelligence, but I
Fair
can
enough.
assure you that we do a threat-based protective model.
I'd like to have that model provided to the committee. Could you do that?
Yes, sir.
Could you also give us the protocols that are in place to secure a site like this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. One, the protective detail around President Trump, I know them all very well. They're brave men and women. And these questions is not to belittle anybody. They're trying to find out how the system fails so badly. You say you're not reluctant to ask for more money. What do we need to do to make it easier to hire people without lowering our standards? I mean, I know it's a hard job. Can we do anything to help you?
So I think we're willing to take that back, sir. I think we're working on our time to hire. We've
Well, if you
actually-
had more people, you'd have more time off.
That's true, sir.
Okay,
Yes.
well, let's get more people, more time off. These are tough jobs. I mean, people on this committee know.
Yes,
I don't
sir.
know how they hold a family together doing what they're doing. It's the military really on steroids. The encrypted app. Paul, can you tell us about these apps? Have they been broken into? The guy had some apps that were encrypted.
I think we've experienced a range of returns on this. Some of the applications that he was using online were encrypted in nature. Some of the email accounts.
Have we
that he
broken
was-
into them?
We've received returns. There are some that we have not been able to get information back because of their encrypted nature.
Is there
in
any way
fact
to
true.
solve that
Okay,
problem?
here we go, guys. This is
Sir, Senator, we've
This
talked
is the
about this
point we were
before.
waiting for.
We need a solution that provides lawful access to law
So
enforcement.
you're telling me the guy that took 8 shots at the president, former president, has apps that we can't get into that may, if you could get into, reveal some relevant information?
That is correct, Senator.
So if he were talking to some foreign power.
I don't buy that for 1 second. I do not buy the fact that they cannot get into his phone. I do not buy the fact that they can't get into his encrypted apps. And the reason why I say that is because we know that it wasn't too long ago when Tucker Carlson was going to interview Vladimir Putin in Russia, and the FBI asked him before he went, like, why are you going to Russia to interview Vladimir Putin? And the only place that he had had those conversations was through using Signal, which is supposed to be one of these secure apps that they're bullshitting about here, pretending like they can't get into it. Don't buy it. It's bullshit.
So they're going to really tell us this, that they can't get into any of his messaging apps, and we're just going to sit here and lap it up like, oh, okay. I don't know. I think that he's being led into something here by Graham. I think, it's he's leading. I think he's leading him up to a big fail here. Let's continue watching. I'm like I say, edge of my seat, man. It's fascinating.
Yeah, I just had to comment on that because I remember Tucker's whole thing getting exposed, and then they're telling us now that they can't get into it. Bullshit. It's bullshit.
Yeah. Oh, Stabby's here. Yeah. I think, we must continue watching more. This is crazy, man. I mean, asking for more money and then offering more time off. Is he not just trolling? Is he not just leading this
they
up?
They basically offered him more money. It's like, do you need more money? Would that
he's
fix the problem
joking,
with some more
man.
money? Yeah, I hope
He
so.
was joking.
I hope
he
so.
was joking. He was hoping he took the bait. He was rage baiting him, man, for sure.
Right. Well, you
For
can
sure.
tell
There's
he's
no
getting
way.
pissed. You can see him like
he-
he's visibly getting like stirred now. That's probably where they're going to crack him. Is they're going to get him so pissed off that he's going to start saying some dumb shit, just like the former head of the Secret Service did, when she got all beaten down and flustered, and she just gives up on life at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah. Let's roll on.
Let's get into this, man. Yeah, yeah.
And I don't think any foreign power would hire this guy, by the way. So I'm not overly worried this was some great plot by the Iranians because they couldn't even think of this. However, there could come a day where something like this is very important. How do we solve this problem?
Senator, you know, as we've been saying, we need a solution that provides lawful access where when we go to
So
a
you're
company...
telling me, I agree with you, I'm not blaming you. We have encrypted apps of an assassin, a murderer, and we can't get into them all these days after. That needs to be fixed, folks. I'm all for privacy, but to a point. What if, in the future, somebody's using these apps to communicate with a foreign power? I think we need to know these things. We need to know them in real time. So lessons learned is that everything failed. Corrective action, seems to me you need more money and more people. Accountability. At the end of the day, how many people do you think will be relieved of their duties, Mr. Rowe, because of this?
Join large
That's just it. That's just it. What if they are
The
communicating
online
with
action game War Thunder has
foreign
received
power?
a major...
Yeah.
Well, we know if they're communicating with foreign powers. I mean, this
Senator,
is
I publicly cannot, and I cannot weigh in on that right
Sure.
now, right? It has to be a fair and neutral
Absolutely.
process.
From a
right?
fair point of view, would you say this is a major system failure at every turn, and those in charge of the system in question, not only was it embarrassing, they failed?
So, Senator, again, if there were policy violations, those individuals will be held accountable, and they will be subject
Just send
to our
us the
table of
policies
penalties.
if you could.
Yes, sir,
Thank
we
you.
will. But they will be held to our table of penalties, which
Thank you.
will include up to termination.
Thank you.
Director Rowe, in your testimony here today, as well as in your written testimony, you said very, very clearly that you can't defend why that building with with the shooter on top of it was not better covered. You were very clear. You cannot defend that. So my question to you is, my understanding is that there's a detailed site survey that is done prior to an event to identify potential threat points. So talk to me about that site survey. I'm sure you've had a chance to look at it now after action. And how did that site survey get approved when it was so clear that that was a major threat from that building?
It's just been
Thank you, Senator. So our Pittsburgh field office did the advance.
Here we
During
go.
that
Let's
advance,
listen.
not
Here
only
we
were
go.
they
Here we go.
discussing amongst themselves about mitigating the line of sight, but also they were discussing with other agencies that were supporting it. Our counter snipers met with their counterparts. The team lead and team lead met. They walked the site. They identified the AGR building. And if I may, Senator, if I could point out something right now, if I may, and we will place this for the record, but this is the point of view. This is from the second floor of the AGR building. This point of view is the point of view where the counter sniper team locally was posted. The gold arrow indicates where the shooter fired from. Looking left, why was the assailant not seen?
Yeah, it's a damn good
When
question.
we were told that building was going to be covered, that there had been a
He's
face-to-face
used to
that
having
afternoon,
cylindrical objects in his mouth.
that our team leads met. This was the view. Let me show you another view, Senator. B.
Look, he's so fucking mad. He can't stand it.
This view is a reenactment by one of my agents. Laying flat. There is a 5-inch rise on the middle of that roof. The assailant would have had to present his bore over that to get his shot off. The view underneath reflects the perspective that he would have had. Again, I call your attention back to the first exhibit if they'd have looked left. Give me C. This is what our counter sniper team saw. Shooter, no elbows. You barely make out the crown of his head. Below it, the assailant up prone. And let me just tell you, our counter sniper, this individual, I know him. I consider him a friend. He has covered me operationally in conflict zones. And when I did my time on the president's detail, he exemplifies the courage, the skill, and the ability to respond under great stress in such short time to neutralize the threat and prevent further loss of life. Getting back to your question, Senator, these were discussions that were had between the Pittsburgh field office, the local counterparts, and everyone supporting that visit that day. And that's why when I laid in that position, I could not, and I will not, and I cannot understand why there was not better coverage, or at least somebody looking at that roof line when that's where they were posted.
Director Rowe, the Secret Service, state and local law enforcement were on multiple communication channels, is my understanding, during that time. And as a result, local law enforcement was only able to call in to a state command center that was then relayed from the Secret Service. This seemed to be a recurring issue in emergency situations that we're finding with the federal government, that there's not a seamless way to communicate, particularly if you're relying on local law enforcement to deal with what was clearly a major vulnerability. Local law enforcement in Butler told my staff that they had no way of communicating directly with the Secret Service. And if I listened to Mr. Bates saying there was about 30 seconds between when the local law enforcement reported that there was a man on the roof with a gun, 30 seconds, if it's communicated directly to a counter sniper team, would that be enough time to react prior to the firing of those shots?
Senator, if we'd had that information, they would have been able to address it more quickly. It appears that that information was stuck or siloed in that state and local channel. I will tell you, though, that there were our tactical elements did have, not only did they have embeds from Butler County ESU with them, but they also had radios on the tactical net. It is troubling to me that we did not get that information as quickly as we should have. We didn't know that there was this incident going on, and the only thing we had was that locals were working an issue at the 3 o'clock, which would have been the former president's right-hand side, which is where the shot came. Nothing about man on the roof, nothing about man with a gun. None of that information ever made it over our net.
So that will change?
Yes, sir. We are working right now to figure out the interoperability and also make sure that we do have access to those channels, whether through the counterpart system or some other means.
Stephen Miller here, President of America First Legal. Foreigners in the United States.
Very good. Ranking Member Paul, you're recognized for your questions.
Director Rowe, I'm encouraged by your attitude and what you brought here today, what you've talked about as far as immediate changes that you've made, and I hope you'll follow through with that. I'm encouraged by the fact that you acknowledge that it's indefensible that the roof was unattended. Would you say the roof being unattended breaches standard protocol for setting up a security perimeter?
It would to
What
a
I would
child.
say, Senator, is that that roof should have had better coverage, and we will get to the bottom of if there were any policy violations.
I would think indefensible would go along with breaching protocol, and I can't imagine how indefensible would not be breaching protocol. What I would caution, though, is that I sense, and you're the Secret Service, and these people are your friends, and they are heroic people who do good things, that we can't let our friendships blind us from responsibility. So someone's in charge of the security at the zone. Would the Secret Service be in charge of the entire operation and they work with law enforcement, but they're in charge? The person in charge of the entire operation is the Secret Service, not the local police.
You're correct, sir. This is a failure of the Secret Service.
So that's what I mean. And look, I don't wish anybody harm. I appreciate the bravery of the Capitol Hill Police. I was at the shooting at the ball field. I've heard 100 shots coming my way. Fortunately, none came to me. But I appreciate the bravery of all the people who protect us. But there's also the idea that there are certain mistakes that don't make you a bad person, but they're just inexcusable that if you made that mistake. So for example, let's say you determine, well, local police should have been on there and they told us, and local police says, no, they didn't tell us to do it, and it's a he said, she said. Still, ultimately, the agent in charge should be walking the grounds and say, there's a roof 100 yards away from the stadium with a clear sight. Someone's got to be on the roof. Local police, I told you to get on the roof. Get on the roof. Or you put the Secret Service. So ultimately, the buck doesn't pass along to somebody. Whoever's in charge is in charge. But really, I think it would be helpful to all of us. I know the process has to be meted out, but there needs to also be a process for protecting the next Trump rally. The fact that whoever was in charge in Butler next week is not in charge of a rally in Las Vegas. And so I think you really should say that. You should simply say that the leadership from that event is going through a process, but until that process, they won't be in charge of the Democrat National Convention. That would reassure a lot of people that they won't be in charge of security until it's determined. Can you tell us something to that accord?
Yes, sir. So I can tell you that the team planning the Democratic National Convention, that is a national special security event. That team has been on the ground. That's from D.C. With support from our Chicago field office. But I just want to reiterate that our Pittsburgh field office staff, they are wearing this harder than anybody right now in the Secret Service. Right. They feel completely demoralized. And what I'm trying to do is also let them know that, listen, they need to be focused on the mission at hand. I also have to walk a tightrope here and make sure that I'm not tainting any future, discipline action.
I understand, and I have great respect for all the officers, but ultimately someone had to be in charge and someone made a terrible error, and it's an error of judgment. The big error is the roof. But another big error is we have 90 minutes of a suspicious person. Now, Senator Durbin mentioned the rangefinder. None of these are enough to shoot a suspicious person, but they certainly, you would think, would be enough to stop the proceedings. That's where I think you get to the second major management or judgment error of this. Now, Trump's done probably 100 rallies like this. How often at one of his rallies are there 90 minutes of looking at one person and at least a half a dozen pictures of that person? How often does that happen? And is it against protocol to let a proceeding go on when you've got a suspicious person, 90 minutes worth of people talking about this person, and we don't stop the proceeding? Does that defy protocol?
So Senator, while there's 90 minutes in total from when he's first identified by local law enforcement, we have about a 30-minute window. But at no time is there anything ever communicated about weapon or harm. And I think that's where the threat.
A weapon, you shoot people with a weapon.
Sure.
Without a weapon, we're talking about people you stop and say, he had a backpack, which was probably big enough to have the AR-15 in it. In all likelihood, the backpack has the weapon in it. So a guy with a big backpack would never get through the perimeter. So once again, a big mistake was not having the perimeter wide enough to prevent people from shooting outside the perimeter. But the thing is, he would have never gotten through the perimeter, right? His backpack would have been checked. But people with big backpacks are very suspicious. And I would think he's been seen 6 times. But you got 20 or 30 minutes of knowing about it. But the thing is, there's all kinds of chatter going on about this. And you would think the chatter going on with the local police is on a police radio, and a policeman with that radio is standing in the control tent, so you get that communication. So there's a huge and massive breakdown. But really my question is, how often has this happened at other rallies where there's a half a dozen pictures and 90 minutes of people talking about a suspicious person? I just can't imagine this
That's
real
a damn
common.
good question.
So, Senator, at rallies, there are people that come to the attention of law enforcement for a variety of reasons. If they come to our attention for some other activity that might, put it a little bit, hey, we probably need to go check that individual out. This happens, and that's why we attempt to locate them. That's why it's important for us to try to find them. And it's important to have the information. And so local law enforcement did their very level best to try to locate him. They did provide us the photos 30 minutes prior. It just, he evaded any detection by law enforcement.
But once again, it's the overall person in charge. It's a terrible breakdown. It's a terrible management decision not to have stopped it. There was a chance to stop the proceeding. And the question is not whether there's enough information to take down an individual. It's a much lower standard to say, hey, we're going to wait until we get this individual. the roof and the 90 minutes of it, both I think are failure of your protocol. And I think when that's determined, the person who made these decisions can't be in a position of authority again.
Senator Klobuchar.
Thank you very much. Thank you to all of you for holding this hearing. I appreciated Actor Director Rowe when we had the classified briefing, and also today, taking responsibility for the agency and your own personal emotion and reaction to your visit and what had gone wrong. For the people in my state that keep asking me, I just don't get how he got on the roof. I know we've gone through great details and a lot of examination. Could you just give a minute on what went wrong and how you think it can be fixed? Because I think it's just going to help to dispel the conspiracy theories. There are some people that think it didn't really happen, which of course is completely ridiculous. It did. There are some people that think all kinds of conspiracies went on within the government, which is also false. But could you just tell them what went wrong?
When the government
so
tells
they
you
understand?
conspiracy is false, it's probably
Thank
not
you,
false.
Senator. I thought long and hard about this. I think this was a failure of imagination, a failure to imagine that we actually do live in a very dangerous world where people do actually want to do harm to our protectees. I think it was a failure to challenge our own assumptions, the assumptions that we know our partners are going to do everything they can, and they do this every day. But we didn't challenge our own assumptions of, we assume that someone's going to cover that. We assume that there's going to be uniform presence. We didn't challenge that internally during that advance. So moving forward, I've directed that when we're talking to people and we're making requests, we are very specific about what we want. We are providing explicit instructions on exactly what our expectation is and what we need them to do and what we want them to do. That's the only way that we're going to be able to move forward beyond this. And let me just tell you that our state and local law enforcement partners are the best. So this belief that somehow they are less than federal law enforcement or they're less than the Secret Service, they're out there patrolling communities every day. They're the ones out there going into hazardous conditions every day. They know their communities. They have the ability to enforce state and local laws. Our advanced agents do not.
Right.
We need them, and we need them to be partners with us, and I think we need to be very clear to them, and that may have contributed to this situation.
Yeah, appreciate that. I have the same respect. Next, one of the things you mentioned to me was, and to all of us, was in this other briefing, was just the texting protocol. And I think a lot of us think about this in non-security settings, about how people are just texting all the time instead of talking, and how it takes our eyes off, in your case, the target. Could you talk about what might have gone wrong there and how you think things could change when there's the hope is that their eyes are constantly on the scene and on the potential targets and risks?
Yes, thank you, Senator. So, again, we need people focused on the problem or on their area of responsibility. It was great that there was a text chain, but that communication needs to go over the net. It needs to go over a radio channel so that everyone has situational awareness of it. The point I was making in the closed door briefing is that we have to get to a point now where we are using our radio systems to have that collective awareness of this.
Is he trying to say they weren't using their radio systems?
One of the things that I've directed is that in addition to the interoperability, we're going to roll out common operating picture, a common operating platform that we utilize for national special security events. We have the ability to roll that out to the field that has a Blue Force tracker in it that's able to, where you can put where all your state and local assets are, where our federal assets are. But in addition to
Blue
that,
Force tracker is better than
I want people using the radio. So it's great that the tactical elements are talking to each other. It's great that the shift is talking to each other. But we have to be able to make sure that whenever we come across a situation, that everyone has situational awareness of this. And I will take this, in my time when I was operational in the President's detail, you know, we were given the explicit instruction, hey, if you're going to pass it, if it's relevant enough that you feel like you need to pass that information, do it over the radio. And that was the protocol that we had. And I think over the years, perhaps with the advent of technology and smartphones, perhaps we've gotten away from that. But we need to get people back on the scope, back on mission, back focused on what they need to be responsible for.
Okay, and the
So
next
you're saying
question I'll
dudes are
put in
texting
writing.
instead of
Thank you
using the
very much
radio?
of you, Mr. Abate, but it's just pointing out that we've seen this rise in threats against members of Congress, which of course is relevant to this. 8,000 just last year, more than 4 times over the past 7 years. I'll want to ask you in writing about the steps that the Justice Department is taking to prioritize these cases. I know there's been some changes made.
Yes, Senator, it's of our highest priority, and we're urgently working on it 24/7 every day to protect each and every one of you here.
Appreciate it. Thank you, both of you.
Senator Carper, recognized for your question.
Thanks very much. Mr. Rowe, Mr. Abate, thank you for joining us today. I have the privilege of representing Delaware, the first state to ratify the Constitution. We did that over 200 years ago, and the Constitution sort of outlines how we elect our leaders. And it changes with respect to technology over the years. But there's, for as long as we've been a country, threats to our leaders when they pursue elective office. We're going to be gathering, some of us will be gathering in Chicago in just a few weeks. Others will be gathering in other parts of the country to help make sure that what was adopted in that original Constitution is actually carried out faithfully. And it's just incredibly important that those who aspire to elective office and those who take on those challenges are protected, and their families are protected, as well as those who surround them. I share with my colleagues my prayers for those who have been killed or injured on July 13th. We're grateful that one of our presidential candidates is okay. But I have a question about what I can't get over how a 20-year-old loner could somehow outsmart two of the smartest federal agencies and state agencies and law enforcement with an odds of like 1,000 to 1, and be able to almost pull this off. It just blows my mind. Hopefully we'll get to
it blows my mind too. It almost blew Trump's
I'm a Navy
mind.
guy. I spent many years of my life in the Navy. I learned as a midshipman that when the ship runs aground at sea, the commanding officer is held responsible. Whether the commanding officer is awake, asleep, at the helm, but the commanding officer is held responsible. And I think we have to make, at the end of the day, I'm not interested in a blame game, but I'm sure interested in finding out who was responsible and making sure that they account for their responsibility. My question is, what policies are currently in place to facilitate real-time information sharing between the Secret Service and local law enforcement during an event? And what changes to information sharing practices will the Secret Service make in light of the apparent breakdown in communications on July 13th?
Thank you for that question, Senator. So we're looking at our procedures. We rely on a counterpart system, and the radio interoperability it's a complex challenge. It's not just about being able to find whatever frequency our local counterparts are on and then just piping it in. There's some technical challenges that have to be there. So to alleviate that, we've always relied on a security room where we have representatives from the local agencies. Those individuals are there to, one, bring their own radio and then relay relevant information that would impact our security plan. I think what I'm looking at, and again, what I'm in looking at this situation is there was a unified command post, and we had our security room, and we had communications that day at the Butler Farm site were challenging. Not just challenging for the Secret Service, but for challenging for locals. There were some cellular issues. There were radio issues, and you saw that with the testimony from the colonel from Pennsylvania State Police last week in the House. So I think as I'm thinking about this, I think we need to consider what
He's got that I'm a douche cop haircut.
What is our model moving forward? And I think we need to be where the greatest amount of partners are when that information is being discussed. The other thing that I'm looking at is we need to also make sure that we have redundancies as far as cellular on the ground or additional repeaters. And so I've directed our Chief Information Officer to do that, and we are rolling assets out now supporting campaign sites.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Mr. Bay, quick question. Based on the initial information you've gathered from the investigation, do you believe there were any actions taken by the shooter in the weeks, days, or hours leading up to the shooting that should have caused alarm and grabbed the attention of law enforcement?
He did not have any interactions with law enforcement leading up to this, Senator. We haven't found anything yet that would have alerted law enforcement or FBI or Secret Service to his intention activities in advance of this event. I will note, however, to your prior question, that we do have a very strong relationship, an integrated relationship between FBI and Secret Service and every other federal, state, local agency you can imagine. We have constructs like the Joint Terrorism Task Forces and Violent Crime Task Forces where we're cross-embedded with each other. And when it comes to this event and others like it, we're always talking in advance. In fact, with respect to this event, we did have a meeting between U.S. Secret Service and FBI in the days leading up to the event to assess whether there was any information or intelligence pertaining to a threat against the rally or to former President Trump or anyone else there. There was an absence of that in the lead up specifically, and again, none of us had any information in our holdings with regard to the ultimate shooter.
All right, thank you for that. Thanks very much, both of you.
Next on the Senate Judiciary Committee is Senator Grassley.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to introduce my oversight letters and investigative documents into the record. This is information I've already made public.
Without objection.
Okay, thank you. I'd also like to call my colleagues attention to legislation that Senator Cortez Matos and I've introduced would require Senate confirmation of the Director of the Secret Service. I think this is very important because no other agency has a no-fail mission. Mr. Rohr, in your written testimony, you stated that that to prevent similar lapses like the one on July 13th from happening again, you'll ensure every event site security plan is thoroughly vetted by multiple experienced supervisors before it's implemented. Based on your testimony, the security plan for the Butler event deviated from the Social Security standards. How would vetting by multiple experienced supervisors fix that?
So, Senator, I think having many eyes on a particular problem set helps. That way you don't have tunnel vision. You just focus in on one thing. And so that's why I think it's important, not only at the field office level, but also at the detail level. And part of what we had started doing with the former president's detail is having them send out site agents, having them send out supervisors. And I think having that collaboration and having additional eyes to examine the problem will make sure that we're not missing anything. And I think I want that surety for myself. I think
you've answered my question.
Yes,
Let me go on. Also to you, in your written testimony, you stated that you, quote, regret that information wasn't passed to Congress and the public sooner and with greater frequency. What's your communication plan going forward to ensure that the American people in Congress are fully informed?
So, Senator, we just started a rolling production that is bicameral. So we made our first rolling production last week. We made one yesterday. We will continue to do that. And my view is that sunshine is the best disinfectant, and we intend to provide information to Congress as it carries out its oversight function.
Okay, also to you, I made public documents that show Secret Service deployed a counter unmanned aerial system operator On July the 13th, according to the Secret Service, the drone system was supposed to be operational at 3 p.m. that day. However, we've been told by Secret Service that because of cellular bandwidth problems, it wasn't operational until about 5:20 of that day. If the system was operational, Secret Service would have had the ability to detect the shooter and his own drone use. Why is the Secret Service dependent upon local cellular network? Does the Secret Service have a backup plan in place?
Yes, thank you, Senator. And that is something that I briefed in the closed door, and again, something that has cost me a lot of sleep because of the eventual outcome of the assailant. That what if we had geolocated him because that counter-UAS platform had been up? It is something that I have struggled with to understand, and I have no explanation for it. Okay. It is something that I feel as though we could have perhaps found him. We could have maybe stopped him. Maybe on that particular day, he would have decided this isn't the day to do it because law enforcement just found me flying my drone. People fly drones all the time on the peripheries of our sites. And we go out and we talk to them and we ascertain what their intentions are. On this day in particular, because of the connectivity challenge, as you noted, there was a delay and he flew his drone at 3:51 approximately. So moving forward, we are leveraging resources from the Department of Homeland Security and others to make sure that we have dedicated connectivity so that we're not reliant on public domain, so that we can ensure that whatever assets we have in place, those assets are operational. And that is my commitment to you, that we are going to make sure we're going to do that, and that is something we are moving out on.
Thank you, and I hope that you'll answer some of my other questions in writing.
Senator Johnson, recognized for your questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Acting Director Rowe, in our secure briefing last week, I made the point that if you don't want conspiracy theories to spread, you need to provide information. You know, I appreciate these photos today. These things could have been released literally within days, and a whole lot more information as well. So Congress needs to provide oversight. We don't have certain investigatory tools like you have, but what we can do is do interviews. So, Acting Director Rowe, did you receive our letter from July 25th requesting interviews with 13 individuals of the Secret Service?
We are in receipt of that letter, Senator.
And I don't know, Deputy Director Abate, have you seen that letter as well? Do you know who we're requesting interviews with?
Senator, I have not seen
the
letter.
Do you know whether those individuals submitted to interviews with the FBI, Acting Director Rowe?
We're in the process. Those employees are being interviewed if they have not already been interviewed, sir.
Are those interviews being transcribed?
The FBI interviews, sir?
Yes. Well, we have 302s on those.
Yes, Senator, we will.
Okay, when will Congress get those 302s? When will we get those transcriptions of those interviews?
Senator, I'll take that back and we'll get those to you as soon as possible.
So, Acting Director Rowe, when will those individuals be made available for Congress, for this committee to interview them?
Senator, we'll make them available.
How soon? Because memories are short, they can be influenced by events. We need these transcribed interviews as soon as possible.
We will get that done, sir.
Does the Secret Service use encrypted communications at events?
On our radio nets, we do, sir.
Are those memorialized? Are those saved?
The radio traffic from Butler, we did not have recordings.
Do you normally?
Not
that's
on the
real
road
convenient
outside
that
of
they don't have
DC
any
or outside of a presidential or vice presidential
They don't have any recordings
stop.
of that event, huh?
So communications between
convenient.
Secret Service agents will not be available like we've gotten the communications from local law enforcement.
I'm sorry, Senator.
So we're not going to be able to get those communications. You didn't save them.
No, sir.
Which is very unfortunate.
It is, sir. And moving forward, I've directed that we will now start recording those so that we will have them moving forward.
And by the way, I'm going to ask for a number of things at the very end to be entered in the record, but one of my preliminary findings is that the Secret Service did not attend the 9 o'clock briefing the day of the event. In your testimony, you said that a site briefing was conducted with Secret Service personnel and law enforcement partners supporting the event. Those both can't be true. So local law enforcement do not believe Secret Service was present at the 9 o'clock briefing, were they?
or were they not?
So, Senator, with respect to the snipers that went on national television and gave an interview and said that they did not get a briefing from the Secret Service, they were supporting through mutual aid, and our personnel briefed the tactical team leader was leading that element that was providing this counter sniper.
Acting Director Rowe, you said that the Secret Service provides explicit instructions to the locals. Were explicit instructions provided to cover the roof of the AGR building and locals just not follow it, or were those explicit instructions not provided?
It's my understanding what was communicated is that the locals had a plan and that they had been there before.
So an awful lot of the chatter on social media has to do with is there partisanship in the Secret Service, providing coverage for some individuals and none for others, about Secret Service coverage or additional coverage enhancements being denied. Was there ever requested additional coverage for Mar-a-Lago?
Senator, we have provided additional resources to the Mar-a-Lago residents.
Was coverage asked for and denied ever?
I'll have to research that, Senator, but I'm happy to tell you we have made significant investments since the former president has left office. Over $4 million of technology, resources, and alarms.
Documents will come out eventually to make the point one way or the other. This is an important piece of information that Congress needs to have.
Senator, we'll make those available to you, the investments we've made.
There's a report today by Susan Crabtree of Real Clear Politics saying that you denied sniper coverage outside of driving distance of D.C. Is that true?
That is a false statement, sir.
Well, that is incorrect.
That is incorrect.
Okay, I mean, that's the kind of information you need to refute with documentation. Deputy Director Abate, you said this is an assassination attempt and domestic terrorism. It's obviously assassination attempt. Why make the distinction? What is different about that?
We think it's important to cover all the possibilities here in the reality of what we're dealing with and what we've all seen, Senator. And we've learned lessons from the past. The tragic shooting at the baseball field was referenced here. We've learned the lesson from that. That was not opened properly, and we've made changes in the Bureau, and it's reflected here in terms of how this investigation is being approached with a completely open mind and inclusive of all the possibilities, including domestic terrorism.
I fear that makes the investigation potentially partisan. Mr. Chairman, I would like to request that my July 14th letter to Attorney General Garland, Mayorkas, and Wray be entered in the record. It asks for all kinds of information, documentation, asks a lot of questions. My preliminary findings of July 21st and July 23rd, including timelines, a bunch of questions as well, be entered in the record. And then our updated timeline dated today. This goes not only by minute, by second, and we will continue to update this timeline as more information becomes public. This is the way you do investigation. We need to find out literally second by second what happens. So the American public understands the truth.
Without objection, so ordered.
Senator Butler.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you to both of our chairman and ranking members for holding this incredibly important hearing critically for the American people to understand the safety and security that is being provided to our national leaders. Thank you both for being here and for, again, answering the hard questions. This is a time of, I think, heightened attention, deservedly so, not only for our national leaders, but for the teacher who decides that they're going to go and participate in their democracy, or the firefighter who wants to hear the voice and vision of the potential next leader of this country. My thoughts and prayers really are with those Pennsylvania families who have lost loved ones or have been critically injured. As I offer my questions today, it would be in service to those, to preventing future incidents. But in the one question of looking backward to the event on the 13th, Director Abate, can you just talk a little bit about how did Mr. Crooks, how was he able to get an AR-15 onto the roof of that building? Does your investigation illuminate anything that we have learned to help to make that point more clear?
We don't have definitive evidence yet as to how he got the rifle up there. Based on everything that's been collected thus far, photos, video, eyewitness accounts, we do believe he likely had it in the backpack.
Broken down in the backpack?
We're still assessing that. Our laboratory has looked at the rifle itself and measured that against the backpack itself. And if placed in this backpack, it would extend outside. It would have been visible. We don't have anyone who observed him with the backpack,
As far as I'm
with
aware, Super
a
Duty
rifle
did actually
barrel
purchase
or other
the gun,
part of it sticking out of the
conducted a background check
backpack.
and was
But
passed
the
a
rifle
background
would
check
not
to
have
obtain the
fit
rifle
fully into this backpack to be concealed and whole. We have video that was recently found of the shooter walking in a distance from his car just before 6 p.m., about 5:56.
Right, so it was a SBR, or he had a
and,
collapsible
based on
stock,
everything we
but
have,
he's saying
we
it
assessed
was bigger than the bag? What?
No. He didn't have an SBR. It was a rifle with a collapsible stock, but that only shortens it by about 4 inches. I mean, if you think about the way an AR-15 is made, you can take the lower and the upper part and slide them into a backpack, and they would fit in a much smaller backpack. He could put the rifle together after the fact.
Yeah.
So it didn't have to be an SBR. From the pictures I saw, it was it's hard to make out, but it looked kind of like a free float rail on there and some kind of cheap optic. It didn't look like it was anything very expensive. But at 130 yards, you don't need anything really expensive.
It was visible from the bag or not? I thought that's
no,
what
I
he
don't
was
think
just
so.
saying.
Oh, is that what he's
So-
saying? I don't think so.
Yeah, I thought-
people talked about seeing him walking around with a backpack, but I don't remember anybody saying that they actually saw him with the rifle until he was at the building where he was going to take the shots from. So, I mean, it's pretty conceivable that he could take the lower off of the upper and slide it into a much more compact backpack, because if you have a 16-inch barreled AR with a receiver, you're talking about 22, 23 inches or so. 24 on the big side. You know, so if you have a 2-foot tall backpack, you can fit it in there, you know? So
okay.
Super Dude said it was concealed. Do you know how it was concealed? Was it in the bag, or was he just like trying to hold it next to his person?
I heard the reason I'm asking this is I'd heard accounts of people saying they saw a guy with a rifle bear crawling, as he was saying. You know, this guy with the red hat.
Yeah.
And he was saying he saw a guy with a rifle climbing up the building. So I was wondering how that corroborated with what they're saying is it was concealed. But he was just saying, if we play it in a second, we'll get to it. He was saying that it was exposed out of the bag. So.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, if it was exposed out of the bag, then, well, I mean, this guy wasn't too smart, to be honest. So he probably didn't know that you could take the lower and the upper part and just shoved it down the bag and had like the barrel or some shit sticking out.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
Let's run it back again and just listen there to what he was saying, yeah.
Would not have fit fully into this backpack to be concealed and whole. We have video that was recently found of the shooter walking in a distance from his car just before 6 p.m., about 5:56, I believe. And based on everything we have, we assess that he returned to his vehicle at that time, got the backpack, and then proceeded back to the area and to the AGR building. And then he's observed, of course, on the roof, just minutes later,
that pretty much answers it.
holding the
Wasn't
backpack in front of him. In fact, there's dash cam footage from a police vehicle that shows him briefly traversing the roof with the backpack in front of him. And then it's just minutes after that
So
he's
he carried the
actually
gun in the
seen by
backpack, but
the
he
officer
didn't take
who
it
I
apart.
described
Got it.
with the rifle on the roof. It's possible that he broke the rifle down, though we don't have conclusive evidence of that, and took it out of the bag on the roof in those moments before and reassembled it there. That's one of the theories we're looking at and working on right now.
Thank you for that. You take me
Okay, so they don't
right,
really know that they were
Acting
thinking the same
Director
thing I was.
Rowe. Thank you for your years of dedicated service and jumping in a hot time. But you take me
Right.
right to
So-
this point of communication. There's been a lot.
I was going to say that it's pretty obvious by this point that they didn't get into the phone. They don't have a clue what's going on. Like, we've heard now, I don't know, I've lost track of
I think
time.
they're in the phone. I don't think there's any way that they're not in the phone. I think that's a complete...
But they're not telling us
They're
about
not
it.
telling us.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's a bluff. Right. But what we're getting out of this hearing so far is that essentially they're not really, there's nothing really to give. No one's accountable for it.
Yeah.
There's nothing really coming out yet. We've been listening for hours now, and I
It's
feel
everybody
like
else's
anyway, I
fault.
think we're
Everybody else's fault. It's just a circle jerk of bullshit. And there's no real answers because they can't give any real answers. They say it's just they're still investigating, but I guarantee you they have answers.
Yeah.
There's no way this long after the fact that they don't have answers.
right.
I just don't believe it.
I mean, how much more do you want to sit through of this? Is it like, are you guys digging this, or like, should we watch something else from the list, or? Yeah, it's
Yeah, it's up to
'Cause
Chad
they
at
just
this
don't-
point. I'm kind of, like, I get that this is going to be like a whole circle of nobody really answering anything because that's what these judiciary committees are always about, is just a bunch of double speak and trying to memory hole stuff.
Yeah.
But you do get like glimpses of real information out of it.
Now, I don't really know if anyone, like, if you've learned anything. Like, for me, it seems to be completely contradicting of other accounts now, saying that
Yeah.
it wasn't concealed. And I'm just kind of losing the thread here of, like, how...
I think that's what they're trying to do.
How
is, like, make us lose the
even-
thread.
Yeah. Like, how is this even... I really don't get how it's such a debate. Like, how is this, how is it possible that we're having such a long discussion about it? And I think Graham at the start was good. He was quite pragmatic, quite poignant with his line of questioning, but it's starting to,
These line of
dwindle
questioners
now,
are not as good. They're not as swift. You know what I mean? We're getting into the bottom of the law school class people that are in Congress, and they're in the Senate, and they're just they don't have the hard questions that you can see by the guy's reaction. He's not even getting as upset anymore. You know what I mean? So the pressure's off. When they were really holding his feet to the fire, dude was about to lose his shit.
Right.
And I don't think he's a person that can be in a position of leadership just by watching the way he's acted in this committee meeting.
I don't think we've really got anything out of this yet,
No.
other than we've started to unravel that. Yeah, there's some really big questions to be answered. The cell phone the communications. We've heard them going on and on here, but nothing conclusive yet. Just starting to air it out. I think it's just the beginning of it starting to unravel. And yeah, if you want to stick with it for a minute, or you want to maybe switch up to something else, let me
That's
know.
whatever you want to do, buddy. I'm fair game either way.
Okay, well, yeah, I'm not really hearing anything back on chat, but I hope they don't mind. If we maybe switch over to see what we got here. See what we got in the old
I think chat's with us,
the
it's just like a big
soy
circle.
tube, the clickbait king from Vintage Warfare was a GunTube video. Yeah, let me load this up for you in the chat there.
Yeah, send it over. Because I think we've gotten past like all the good answers and stuff with this anyway, and the good
Right.
questions. And now it's just going to devolve into nothingness.
I sent the wrong link. Let me just boomer alert.
I got it.
Well, I mean, do you want to watch the soy one first, and then he's done another one just after? So we'll start with the soy tube one. It's fucking funny.
Yeah, let's do the sword tube one. I need something to make.
Yeah.
The whole point is you're able to see how many rounds are left in the magazine, but when you load it up, you can see it says 5, 15, 25. When I put the rounds in here, this doesn't make sense at all. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments of this. Is Magpul lying to us, or am I just an idiot and reading this wrong?
Good morning, Reddit. I will give Reddit gold to the first kind stranger that lets me know what this little painted line is on this spring here. I think this magazine might be lying to me.
Let me know in the comments.
This dude, yeah, let me know in the comments. He knows what he's doing. He knows that there's nothing wrong with the magazine. I know there's nothing wrong with the magazine. I know this isn't some master troll guy. He's just making guns gay.
He's just making guns gay.
All right, listen up there, Hoss. If you don't like this video, not only do you not support small black-owned businesses, but you are also gay. Greetings and salutations, Reddit. It is I, Austin, of the Rambo Black channel, here today to talk about a certain individual who deserves a lot more recognition. That's right, get in line, get ready to consume my brand of slop for the day. And today, frankly, we're going to be talking about First Shot Tactical, probably, maybe the gayest gunsoy tuber, CivTac Johnny Q. Perhaps I treated you a little too harshly. Now, Mr. First Shot here is what I like to kind of consider the king of bait content. What do I mean by bait content? Essentially, this bait content it blurs the line on somebody who just literally does not know what they're talking about.
I must apologize for Wimp Low. He is an idiot. We have purposely trained him wrong, as a joke.
If you own a gun, then just buying concealed carry insurance isn't enough to be prepared.
Or it's epic Reddit-style trolling. Either way, you look like an actual restart. Now, some of you might recognize him from my GunSoyTube video, but as of late, his bait content has gotten so lazy. Just here's an example of what I'm talking about.
So Cheap Gun Club hooked us up with some more ammo, and I was super excited to get this out of the box and try it out. But I ran into one major issue. Let me show you. I grabbed my AR-15 mag, and for some reason, these just aren't fitting in there properly. Ooh, that's not good. So what am I missing here?
Yo, bro, this is some, like, really bad clickbait shit. You know what? I bet this video has got millions of views, too, of this guy just acting completely fucking stupid. Come on, man. You can make better content than that.
You know it.
If yeah, if you're going to make some shit about guns, at least give us something to work with.
Should we try and find the channel that he's talking about? It's called First Shot Tactical, right? That's what I wanted to do live on stream. Is like, if we just come out of this for a second and have an actual look, let's see if he's uploaded recently.
First Shot Tactical.
Let's see. That's what he was called, right? First Shot Tactical.
Yeah. I'll let the rest of the video play while I'm hunting for that.
Yeah, have a look.
Case
Yeah,
ammo not working in an AR-15.
We find the channel.
Oh well, we'll just go to the range and see if this ammo works or not in my AR. Regardless, though, make sure to check out Cheap.
Almost have to wonder who's watching this content. Who is this for? Because my theory on this is it's hate watching, but a lot of probable European teenagers who don't know anything about guns, probably a lot of Indian people who are like, oh, no, yes, you can't put that, no, that's going to be big accident, you can't, no, AR, the AK, don't AR, no AR, please help me, sir, I'm Indian. And to the ammo company that is sending somebody like this stuff, is this really what you want your company to be known for?
So I may have made a mistake here, and here's why. Cheap Gun Club reached out and asked if they could send a case of ammo out for us to test and review on the channel. And in my head, I thought, oh, a case, like a case like this, you know? This is a case of ammo, right? Wrong. Guys, this is a box of ammo. If you want to see what a case of ammo, well, this is a case of ammo.
All right, you're not going to convince me that you didn't know what a fucking case of ammo is. If you have two brain cells to rub together and can walk into a gun store, you know what a case of ammo is. Come on, man.
Ammo.
Well, I didn't know what the difference between a case and a box of ammo is. Yes, this is peak gun content. And some of the reason as to why I think this is bait is simply because there was a video that he did where the comments were all just people just shitting on him. Like, and it was about him talking about cleaning an AR-15, right? how to lubricate an AR-15, like a BCG. And it was, by the way, it was also like a paid ad, clearly. But he was enough engagement for him to make the video not once, but twice.
In order to lubricate your rifle, where exactly do you apply lubricant to keep this thing running? Step 1 is to make sure your gun's clear. And next, we're gonna lock the bolt back to the rear. With the bolt locked back, we're gonna pull our charging handle back out, apply a couple drops on the charging handle. Next, we're gonna flip our rifle upside down to look in through the mag well.
What the fuck is already happening? What? Okay.
And in order to lubricate your rifle, definitely recommend using liquid drip. And with this applicator, it makes it super easy to do. And we're gonna place some drops down by where the gas tube is. After that, we can bring our rifle back around, pull the charging handle back, and start to release the bolt. Before the bolt comes all the way in,
He's going to teach you something, Ryan. He's going to show you how it's really done.
Lastly, on the BCG, you can see these holes right here. We're going to use this needle applicator on the liquid drip bottle to go ahead and drop some lubricant down in those holes.
Yeah, put oil in.
Here's a pro tip for lubricating your AR. When it comes to lubrication, definitely get a product like Liquid Drip that has this little needle to lube directly into those holes.
This is the right way to
Now, say what you will. Some people...
Listen, man, I have questions about this company, too, that obviously is sponsoring the oil that he's using for this video. Does it... It kind of makes me lean toward the fact that this dude thinks this might be like a serious video. Or when did the marketing team for this lubrication company say, make this heinous video that is complete trash and garbage, that you are not doing anything right, and that's going to be a great ad for our brand? I really want to know who the marketing team decided to do that. Don't do that. That's exactly right. Don't do that. For the love of God, please don't do that. There is a right way. You know what? Just because of this, because there's somebody out there that might think this dude's for real and that he's serious. Listen, guys, I know that we're all gun guys, right? We're all gun guys. We like guns. We like firearms. We know things about guns, all right? But there are people out there that are just getting into this hobby of ours, and they don't know any better, and they're going to see this video, and they're going to be like, oh, so that's how you do it. And it's complete trash. And what they're going to do is end up getting somebody to fuck their gun up because they're listening to some dumbass trying to make a funny video or edgy or whatever he's trying to do here, and it's not doing anybody any good. I get it. You want to try and be funny, but this is not the way to do it. This is the way that you teach people to do things the wrong way, and then they're going to be the next FUD in the gun shop talking about how they lubricate their AR just through the holes in the side of their bolt carrier and shit. Come on.
All right.
Or like, well, if you put lubricant in those little holes, it's not going to blow the gun
I think we
up.
watched the next one, bro.
Nobody in the years I've ever...
Oh, yeah. I did bring up, I wanted to know if this dude's like making real videos or if he's just an
Oh,
idiot.
yeah. Did
So
you get
his
one
channel-
shot?
Yeah. We got his channel right here. And, yeah. He's got how to install a red dot sight, a Hollow Sun 407, 507 on your Hellcat Pro. Kind of interested in that one. But this one right here, he's doing a staccato 500 round test. And the title has got me pretty interested. Expensive toy or duty reliable? Because I've had really good luck with staccatos. And I'm really curious as to see what this dude's doing and to know if his little oil trick videos are really just trying to troll us or if he's an actual idiot. Let's find out.
This is the thinnest armor ever. Introducing Hyper.
Did I just watch him bump fire a pistol? Hold up. We gotta go back a little bit. Yeah, he's bump firing a pistol.
In 2024, how reliable is a 2011? Well, let's answer that question today with none other than the gold standard, the Staccato P 2011. Oh man, these things are beautiful. We have 500 rounds on the table here, and we're gonna be putting all of these through the brand new Staccato P. I say brand new, this gun's been out for a while, but this is a brand new one from the factory that I picked up. So that way we can test actually how reliable the Staccato P is. Full disclosure, while we're getting set up here, Staccato did send this Staccato P out for testing and review. Well, actually they are local to me, so I went to their Staccato ranch and picked this up from them. But we have to thank them for providing this, so that way we can see just how reliable it is. Ammo that we're gonna be using today is provided by me, and this is Norma 124 grain 9mm ammo. Staccato specifically says that you need to use 124 grain. That works the best in their 2011 pistols, all of them. And if you actually need some 124 grain ammo, they do now have a subscription, so go check that out and get yourself hooked up with the right ammo for your Staccato. That being said, I'm excited to get this test underway, so let's get some mags loaded up. We're gonna get this optic zeroed in, the CH Precision Comp optic, and we'll talk about the setup later. But again, let's go ahead and get this zeroed in first. Oh, butter. One other thing before we get started here is if you're new to Staccatos, they are not SIGs like this one here, and they are not Glocks. What I mean by this is they do require a little bit more maintenance in order for them to run reliably. So about every 500 rounds, which we're about to start our 500 round test, you do need to lube it up. I love using this liquid drip here. It has a little needle applicator here, so I'm gonna go ahead and put that in the correct spots. Back here on the slide, in the slide groove, on the hood of the barrel here.
Stop it. If you're going to oil the gun, take the slide off of it. Stop.
Side right here where the barrel sits, and then that should be good enough. Now that we got the liquid drip on, let's begin shooting.
He's all about the lube.
He
likes it slippy. He likes that rail real slippy. It's all about the air rack.
Yeah, this is
juicing
like
it
trying to
everywhere.
Move your lips for
Look at him.
You know what I mean?
I think it works.
That's
let's get this zeroed in now.
I'm surprised he's not putting it in the mag as well.
Magazines love it when you dump oil.
All right, now we got the optic zeroed in on the Staccato P. Next, let's go ahead and get into some drills. We're going to be doing some outside the waistband as well as inside the waistband concealed carry drills, because this is meant to be a kind of do-all pistol. It is a little bit bigger and heavier of a gun to conceal carry, but I know quite a few people that do. So, like I said, we'll do some drills for both of those, and also stay tuned. I'm going to show you a cool little holster trick for any pistol in general on how you can use it outside the waistband or inside the waistband for any gun. But for now, let's go ahead.
An 8 out of 10. Stabby, what'd you say? What did Stabby say? It's true of printing mags. You need a little lube.
Yeah.
Need a little lube. It's fun of the jokes. Everyone knows ARs are 2 strokes, and you need a little 2-to-1 gas to oil ratio just to get them ticking right.
Yeah.
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 That's right.
I just covered mine and used motor oil because they really like that.
And use it, of course, an oil can for a suppressor.
Yeah.
Works a treat.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, you use an oil can, man? I was just using some MyPillows.
And there goes our sponsor for today, MyPillows. By the way, guys, I just invested big. Yeah, MyPillows. I've been flipping MyPillows on eBay. That's the new side hustle, guys. Heavy grind. Yeah, grind set. And then we're gonna flip Airbnbs. But that's over on our other channel. That's our billionaire lifestyle stuff.
Yeah, yeah. That's MyPillow gave me a yacht.
Right. But you had to used as a suppressor first, which later worked as you could just fart into it and like allow the fart to kind of escape, but escape slowly. Fart softener.
Was it? I want to see this dude shoot.
A marital aid.
All right, I'm starting to have serious questions now that we've seen what I presume is a serious video, and he's plugging the liquid drop oil. Okay, all right, so. Right. And then he's just dropping a couple of spots of oil on the outside of the gun and like one spot on the inside. If you take a slide off of this gun, there are many more spots that need to be oiled lightly on this particular firearm. And well, pretty much any pistol. If you're not taking the slide off to oil your gun, you're not doing it right. And I don't get it. Why did you even waste your time doing it unless it was just for the senseless plug? And you're not passing any good information along to the people that are watching this. It may be Staccato owners. It may be first-time 1911 owners. That was not good. So I have some real questions, and I want to see more. Because I feel like there's going to be a lot more there's going to be a lot more bullshit.
And get to some drills. I wonder if we can air rack it after the first couple mags even.
Air rack it? Are you John Wick?
Empty.
I told you. I said that at the beginning. I should put $1 on it. I knew it. He just wants to air rack. I knew
And that's
it.
why Staccato is so famous for their hand fit and finish. Everything is put together. And
Hey, you know, you
so
could air rack
smooth.
it
Wow,
easier
that
if
was pretty
you
cool.
lubricated it properly.
I thought it was a good video overall, though, man. I wouldn't dog him too much. Like, he went out there, he shot a cool video. It's just that I don't understand this lead thing.
I just don't understand the whole lubrication thing. Why?
I'm not
the
sure if
video's
this
not
is
bad. The
soy
video's not
tube,
bad, but why are
like-
you gonna oil it wrong like that? It's one of my pet peeves, man. You know what I mean?
The only thing better than wearing a well-made gun belt is knowing
Let's
you
keep
got
going
it on
through his
sale.
content, 'cause,
For a
you know,
limited
Vintage
time only,
Warfare was
our
calling
handmade
him a
in the
total
United States
silly.
tactical
So,
gun belt.
we got to see if it's a fair assertion.
Yeah, yeah. What's PSA Creek? Oh, he's got a suppressor.
You're the you're
You're
leading this thing.
Hey. Yeah. Let's see how you
No, let's watch his short. I think that's what it is. It's the short. Hold on. YouTube says from the comments now. Can't even explain how I lube my new builds. Oh man, Stabby, that sucks. We need to set up a chat. We need to set up chat coming from the Discord as well or something where it won't get censored.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Damn man,
Yeah,
I
YouTube's
hate
good at that.
hate it. Yeah, I hate it when people get censored. That's okay. We will find a solution. We'll come with a better chat.
Yeah, we will find a solution. Don't worry.
I use the
Oh, this one should
guys.
be good. Do triggers matter?
Okay, that sounds interesting. I would like to know about.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's find out if triggers matter, guys.
Let's see.
So Brown. Well, here's something I didn't know I needed. This is the Kinetic Development M-Lock QD mount. And did you play Call of Duty? So Brownells hooked us up with the best AR trigger. For an AR-15, the Geisley SAE has basically become the gold standard. It's a 2-stage trigger. It has a 2.5-pound first pull weight and then a 1-pound second. So in total, kind of like a 3.5-pound trigger,
No, I
which
never
is
watched
super
that,
light
Savvy.
for an AR. The cool thing about this though is it can drop into any AR-15 platform, like this Foxtrot Mike's Mike 102. So that's exactly what I'm
Me
gonna
neither.
do. Because right now this
Sounds
has
good.
a
Need to watch
disgusting
it.
6.5-pound mil-spec trigger. Mil-spec. So the Geisley will definitely give this a nice upgrade. Let me know in the comments, do you use these Geisley triggers or do you use something else? So Brownells hooked us up with the best AR trigger. Did you play Call of Duty Black?
Okay, that was pretty good advice on the trigger. The Geisley SSAE trigger is one of my favorites, one of my must-haves, and any rifle that I get, if it doesn't have one in it already, which I build most of mine now, then it's going to get one put in it, because that is hands down a boss-ass trigger, and you can usually find them on sale for a lot less than what MSRP is. Let's see.
So Brownells hooked us up.
Paint
Did
like
you
that.
play Call of Duty? EOTechs are expensive. So maybe this is a better alternative. Well, I'm gonna be honest, price-wise, it's a little bit cheaper, but maybe value-wise, it's higher. Let's go ahead and get this unboxed and see what I'm talking about. And of course, we picked this up from Brownells. Whoa. I guess that's it. First try. So this right here is the Vertex AMG UH1 Gen 2. Yeah, that's a mouthful. But the cool thing about this is a direct competitor to EOTechs because they are both holographic sights. Not a red dot, holographic. Means it's gonna be a little fuzzy when you look at it, if you have astigmatism. This UH1 has been out for a while now and has been proven pretty reliable on the market. On the back, you got a plus and minus for your brightness.
I like the
Comes with
Vortex,
night vision. You don't have to pay
UH1.
extra for an upgraded model. EOTech. And of course, you do get a quick attach lever to quickly mount or demount it from your gun. Cool. So now that this has been out for a while, would you use this over an EOTech? EOTechs are expensive. So maybe this is a better alternative. Well, I'm gonna be honest, price-wise.
Yeah, it's not as expensive as SIG's new holographic sight, though. Oh my god. Have you seen that thing, Paul?
No, what's it running at? I was just about to ask. Sig's done a holo sight.
Yeah. SIG's got
Yeah,
a new
what's that?
hollow sight. And it legit, it's a pretty sweet hollow sight. Until you see how much it costs, and then you're like, nah, you can keep it. But it's cool in the fact that it has a dual dot system. One's red, one's green. And what's meant for you to do...
Oh, I
is
see
you
it.
have- Yeah. You have the 1
Looking at
MOA
it now.
dot in red, and then you get a 3 MOA green dot, and you can move those to different zeros for different types of ammunition. Say you're shooting subs, and say you're a 300 blackout guy, and you're shooting supers and you're shooting subs, and you got magazines loaded different, so you can have both of your zeros for those on there, which is really cool and all. Until you look at the $1,700 price tag for that thing. I mean,
wow.
Yeah, you're getting almost.
Well, I'm looking at Romeo's. Obviously, there's the Romeo, but what's the model you're talking about? Because
I think it. What is that thing? Sig's new. They just announced it. Let me find it.
got the Romeo 90, which looks like an EO tech. There's 4 Gs, 4 stacks, 4 fat racks.
Let's see. I'll find it because it's oh yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. That's it. Yeah, it's 4 stacks. The Romeo 9T. That's it. Yeah, we'll pull this thing over here so the chat can look at it too.
Did you say it's a thermal optic or it's just a red dot? Like,
no,
what's
no,
the?
It's a holographic sight.
Oh, it's a holo sight. I thought you said something slightly different there, because my ears picked up.
Yeah. Here's the thing. We'll throw it up there so the chat can see it too. This is the Sig Romeo 9T, brand new optic out. It is pretty sweet. Not gonna lie, it is pretty sweet. I bet it's tough. It better be
50K hour run.
It better be tough, is all I can say. But right there's the sight. So you got the 1 MOA dot, and then you got the 3 MOA green dot, and you can move that independently of the red dot for your 2 zeros, which is really cool.
No, it's got night vision override. Is what I'm thinking. It's not thermal, because I've heard something before.
It's night vision capable, so you can put a night vision device behind it, and you can put it in night vision mode, and you can see the reticle with your like PVS 14 or whatever you happen to be using. And that still doesn't justify $4,000. That's crazy.
Considering the other ones are below even $1,000, they're like $500, $800, aren't they, for the others?
Yeah. You can find an EOTech EXPS3 on sale for $500 to $550. In some places when they
even the Romeos.
Yeah, the other Romeos are a lot less.
They've come up in price. It has come up a bit in price. The Romeo M17 is $800. I think it's a new format, new software. There's something new with them.
Yeah,
it's for professional use.
Yeah, it's totally for professional use. But I still can't justify the $4,000 price tag when I can go get an awesome aim point for like $900. That's going to be as good, if not better, and definitely grenade proof. And I would $4,000's a lot for a sight, man. For a hollow sight.
For a sight, it's ridiculous. I'm looking at. Okay, I'll switch over to the Romeo M17. This looks like more of a package for me. But yeah, no, the other one's kind of out of the question. I don't know. It's a bit of a toy. It's professional usage, man. Yeah. So the M17 looks pretty sturdy.
The M17,
looks good.
The M17's a good looking gun, and I like the way they shoot and everything. But it might go
Romeo
off if you drop
M17.
it. Oh, the Romeo M17.
True.
Oh yeah. That's their little pistol sight. Yeah. This one's meant for rifles. This $4,000 job, totally meant for rifles.
Yeah.
But still, compared to the competitors, I don't see 4 times the price of an aim point worth of value there. You know what I mean? I just don't see it. I don't know how they can justify $4,000 for this thing. I've droned on about that.
I wonder what's the real differentiator. Yeah, I wonder what the real differentiator is.
I don't know. Let me scroll down here on the details, see if it tells us any more specifications.
Yeah.
1 MOA dot, 65 MOA circle, 2.5 MOA green dot, 13.7 ounces with the battery. It's almost a pound.
And scroll down to something dark so I can read the chat. Yeah.
Yeah, let me scroll back over there so we can read the chat. Stave says, my boy has a SIG red dot and 3X magnifier combo we got for $260 that will serve his needs for years to come. Yeah, they sell that Juliet 3 combo package, which is really not bad. I'm not a fan of the Romeo 5 though. Is Trijicon into it? Good. Yeah, man, Trigicon's my jam. I love Trijicon. But when it comes to red dot optics, I would probably, they make a pretty good red dot optic, but I'd probably spring for something else, you know. Leupold, man, Leupold's for boomers. That's honest.
Don't say that. Why?
It is, man.
Why is Loophole?
Loophole's a
Really?
boomer optic company.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm guilty. Yeah. Okay. All right. It's just for hunting, right? With the old bolty boy, but or maybe not.
Oh well, I got some bad blood with Loophole anyway. You know what I mean? But when you look at the price of their optics and what you get with them, you're just not getting as much as you do with other companies for the same amount of money. You know who has some of the most banging optics out there for the money? To be honest, Primary Arms.
Yeah, without a doubt. They got
love
deals on
Primary
deals
Arms
on deals. Yeah, man. They're
in
stacking
fact-
deals.
Yeah, man. In fact, I've got a
Oh, we got
$4,000
Cerakote
AK.
pick in the channel.
Huh?
New Cerakote. He said he Cerakoted it. Let's have a look. We love a Cerakote.
Oh, in the rifle channel? Yeah, I do love it.
Channel. Oh, dude.
Oh,
This is
sick.
badass.
Yeah, let me save that
Yeah,
picture.
look at that, man.
Let me save that picture.
Look at
and,
the
if
gleam
Stabby-
on the FA.
Yeah,
it
if
looks
Stabby
good,
doesn't
man.
mind, I'm going to throw it up for the world to see because that looks good. I like the pattern. Let's see.
Rocking, bro. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'll get it up here so everybody can see Stabby's masterpiece.
Yeah. We love Cerakote. It's a great protection. Used to be
Yeah.
a time when there was a lot of pages doing the Cerakote. I don't see it around so
I
much.
like
It used
the
to be
BB
like
gun
a...
above it, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The BB.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. There's a can there.
It's got the can on it.
But yeah, that's good. That's good pattern. I've got an HKG3 that's going to be coming to me at some point. I just got an update on it last week. I was supposed to have this rifle like 2 months ago. I've been waiting on this rifle for 3 years. This is a legit HKG3. It's not a PTR. And hopefully, within the next 3 to 4 weeks, that G3 will actually be here because I've been wanting to get it here, play with it, and make a video on it because it's going to be sweet. I also got a 22 long rifle conversion kit in it. Yeah, I know a lot of dudes that use like those CMMG kits. Those CMMG kits, they seem to work pretty good.
They do,
Stabby,
yeah.
What kind of AR is that? Is that a? Did you build that, or is it a pre-build? I want to know more. Need to know more. Intensifies.
I'm grabbing some
Oh,
milk.
you built it. Okay, cool. That's the best way, man. Built, not bought. You're still buying the parts, but at least
Fucking
put it
yeah.
together yourself. You know what I mean? That's the way I like to do things. I'm partial to using match set receivers that are all milled for my ARs now. They're a little bit heavier, but man, let me tell you, they provide some accuracy. And I built one a couple years back. I built an AR-10 for a guy in 243 with all carbon fiber and all that fun stuff. And it was sick. Absolutely sick. Loved it. And it shot about 3/4 MOA, and with the real light ammo, which is what he wanted to use because it was a coyote gun, it was shooting half MOA, which was really impressive. Anyway, let's
Sorry, I'm just chowing down. Chowing down a bit.
Went to my local FFL and picked this up. Everyone knows you can't ship guns to your house.
PSA
The
kit.
packaging
Oh,
on
he's
this
using
is
the
pretty
PSA.
pristine,
This
but
guy.
let's get it unboxed and see what we got.
So this is the Lone Wolf Dusk 19.
So what's next?
Up
We're
top,
looking
we have
up
an
on,
owner's manual
I don't know.
tucked
Just
away
flip to
here that
another
you can
story.
read.
Do you have something?
So
All right, that was a good
I do,
read. On the
yeah.
right
I
side-
have. Well, it's the same guy. It's Vintage Warfare. So he had a follow up to that. I put it in the channel. Yeah, he had this nostalgic boomer gun slop.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll get that pulled up.
Do you hear that? The call that brought Harvey Firestone.
The gun has played a critical role in history, an invention which has been praised and denounced, served hero and villain alike. and carries with it moral responsibility. To understand the gun is to better understand history.
We need to go back. We need to go back! All right there, Hoss, let me tell you why the M14 was the most accurate and best rifle ever, because I shot something 10 yards away on the military channel. Greetings and salutations, Reddit. It is I, Austin of the Yoki Rambo channel, here today to talk about some boomer nostalgic gun videos, or TV shows, I should say. That's how brain rotted I am. But today we're going to be talking about some boomer nostalgic gun slop. And these were videos, or I should say TV shows, that's how brain rotted I am, that I used to watch as a kid on the military channel, and I think the history channel before it was the Schizo Paused channel. I'm going to try and leave out some of the auto stuff in it because as the rest of the world is, like YouTube, going a lot in this direction for this reason. Also, sirs, please like the video, sir. It helped my channel out very much. Thank you. So the first one we're going to talk about is weaponology.
Be still my fluttering heartstrings.
And I love this show because it has huge layers of fun lore, but some facts there. And they basically take a rifle like a K98.
At number 6, a weapon so accurate, it was recommended for the most audacious assassination attempt of the 20th century.
Not the Carcano.
Mauser, Model 98K Carbine. Type, bolt-action rifle.
Mauser 98K Carbine. And they rate it on a tier list out of 10 using like made-up video game stats that don't really mean anything.
That gives the Mauser excellent marks for accuracy and service length. Innovation is also good, but with only average handling and combat effectiveness, this German legend is at number 6.
They'll take rifles and parrot some of my more favorite FUD lore in existence, or things that can at least be somewhat disproven.
Working alongside Hugo Schmeiser, the father of the Sturmgewehr, Kalashnikov unveiled the new assault rifle in 1947. Built with incredible tolerances, the AK can take sand, mud, and water, but never jams.
The fire, you've got about a 99% chance of it going off the first time, every time. Let's give it a try. Somewhere between.
And it's funny because I know in that clip at least hundreds of thousands of personalities were created in that moment. And I love the guys they bring on. One of my favorite episodes was when they were going over the M14 and they just could not stop singing its praises.
No, don't hate on my M14.
It wasn't until 1957 that the American military got their hands on an assault rifle. But when they did, it was worth the wait.
The M14 is the first modern assault rifle that the U.S. Army and Marine Corps use, and it is a remarkably accurate weapon, and M14s are still used today as hunting rifles.
A fully automatic rifle with a massive punch and awesome.
And the accuracy test was the dude just, check this out. See how accurate this is? Watch me.
The M14 had it all.
Accuracy is still a very high priority. Let me show you. You can put 50 rounds down range, and if you haven't hit anybody with it, you haven't done anything, except wasted 50 rounds.
But after just 5 years in service, incredibly, it was withdrawn. It was too heavy and too expensive to produce on the scale needed.
Well, that's not exactly what happened.
The problem with it was that it was really too good for the requirements of the U.S. Army.
And the target was like 10 yards away. But one of my favorites for kind of it going into a lot of autistic detail was Tale of the Gun, and it still sticks in my mind.
The gun has played a critical role in history, an invention which has been praised and denounced, served hero and villain alike.
And it'll be like a pretty detailed documentary every time. We have it on John Moses Browning. And, you know, that also developed a lot of people's personalities.
Esau's god is the gun. Watch who he credits as a god.
12-gauge pressures. The pressure of a 50 is a rifle round. It is significantly higher. Unfortunately, God, aka John Moses Browning.
You see that? God, aka John Moses Browning. That's because, like I told you guys before, Esau's blessing is the sword. He's the most profane of any nation, meaning secular, and his god is the gun, the weapon. Okay, like the scripture tells you in Genesis by the...
But I like it because it'll go into very minute details, like, well, the Kaiser, some boomer will come on, the Kaiser, well, see, he was a gimp, and because he was a gimp, he didn't like shooting with his one of his hands, so, but it impressed him so much that he ended up adopting the Mauser platform. But you could definitely argue that it is peak nostalgic gun slop. I love it. I absolutely love it. When I say it's gun slop, I don't even mean that in a negative sense this time. This was back when nobody was shilling for anything. It was not. They weren't in the pockets of Big Mauser. They were just there to say how much they loved something because they genuinely loved it. No shilling. Yeah, they were probably in some magazines or whatever, but this was peak. And I also have a conspiracy that this was all put together, the military channel, with all these shows that I loved as a kid, being used as a recruitment tool for the military. And I can say that, among other things, it worked. But anyways, YouTube, that's going to do it for me today. That was Austin of the Vintage Warfare channel. I will see you in the next video. Later!
All right, I feel personally attacked on the M14 thing, so I'm going to dispel a few myths out there. The M14 was a good rifle, originally designed as it was by Springfield Armory. There's a lot of controversy about why it got selected as a rifle. It probably was not the best selection, but it's still a good rifle. That said, the biggest issues with the M14 when it went into service was when they created the technical data package to send out to the people that were manufacturing it, because Springfield Armory was not supposed to be the ones manufacturing the rifle. They didn't follow the TDPs correctly, ended up having a lot of receivers cracked. That said, it was also a really atrocious full auto rifle. It just didn't do well in that regard. It was a weapon designed to replace so many guns, and it just didn't fulfill that role. M16 was definitely the superior weapon once we got all the problems kinked out for there, but that's another rabbit hole. If you guys want to know more about the M16 and the M14, particularly M16 and its introduction to military service, you can check that out on our YouTube channel. We do have the Stoner's history of the M16. It's really good. Highly encourage you to watch it and check it out.
Boom. Get in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. That's the video anyway. Yeah, that's why I wanted to. I thought you'd find that funny.
Yeah.
That
yeah.
he's focused on that.
I always get I have to get on my little M14 soapbox, and that makes a lot of people mad because the M14 is one of those weapons that has two camps, right? There's no one in the middle when it comes to the M14. You either love it or you hate it with a passion, and that's pretty much it. And I happen to love M14s. They're just when you look at that, you're like, man, that's a rifle. And you pick it up, you're like, yeah, it's a rifle. Yeah, it's old school. It doesn't feel that great compared to modern stuff, but it's still a pretty good rifle.
Yeah. It can still do the job.
It does a job. It does a job, and it does a job really well. It's not the best, but it's a pretty good jack of all trades, you know. In fact, one of my favorite variants of it is the Springfield M1A SOCOM 16. I really like that one. The only thing I don't like about it is the factory muzzle brake is punishing for the shooter. So you definitely want to wear ear pro with that bad dude, because if you don't, it's going to slap you and let you know about it. Yeah.
So, yeah.
In fact, I have a SOCOM 16, and I'm going to be putting a suppressor on it in the not too distant future. There's just one more thing that I need, and that's an adjustable gas block. They've been out of stock for a while, but I did find that Fulton Armory has their own adjustable gas plug that they have for the SOCOM, because I wanted a Schuster, but they've been out of stock forever. So I'm gonna get one of those, and then I can move over to suppressed SOCOM 16 goodness, and I can't wait for it because it's gonna be wicked awesome, especially with a Surefire can hanging off the end of it. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. But
I just noticed what Stabby posted in the Discord that we didn't even check. We didn't even see it. Posted in general.
Oh,
some crazy shit, bro.
What we got here? Actor Ben Stiller says every white Jewish guy. Okay, let's check this out.
No, scroll. But even but before that is even more crazy. Tim Walz has signed a bill redefining the term sexual orientation to include pedos. What? Can't be real.
What's
my God?
What's fixupx.com? Is that like X but better?
Fix Up X is
no,
where
it
they
goes to
fixed
X.
X. They fixed all the bugs in X.
Oh, okay.
It was a tweet. It was a tweet.
It was a tweet. On 2/13/23, Lee Fink, a trans-identified male, introduced HF number 10 or 1655, which defines sexual orientation means having or being perceived as having an emotional, physical, or sexual attachment to another person without regard to the sex of that person, or having or being perceived as having an orientation for such attachment. Okay, that's a mouthful. And this is struck out, or having or being perceived as having a self-image or identity not traditionally associated with one's biological maleness or femaleness. Sexual orientation does not include a physical or sexual attachment to children by... okay. Wow.
Oh, man.
They crossed out the part that would expressly preclude the pedo types from falling under the definition of sexual orientation. Okay, well, that's not creepy at all. I'm going to learn some more about this. I'm going to wait to scroll through the comments because we never know what we're going to find when we do that. Yeah. And let's see. What's this video here? A printable force reset. We probably can't show that on here. As much as I would like to show that one, Stabby, about the printable force reset trigger, we cannot show that on here. YouTube be big mad. We did that. But let's check out what. Let's check out what Ben Stiller says.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead, Paul.
We can. I was gonna say we can move over to just X and Rumble at some point, probably, if the streams are getting censored. But on YouTube is where we got the most subscribers, right? So it makes logical sense to keep hammering away at the old almighty. But it is censoring us here, man. This is fucked.
Yeah, I hope that X really takes off as like the new YouTube, to be honest, and that all the gun content creators move to that, because you can still make stuff on there and you can talk about anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What's the app like X for streaming? I don't know, man. Rumble will probably be the closest one to it, but X actually has pretty good streaming. X has live streaming. We're live streaming on X right now. Yeah, I do too. We're live streaming on X.
It's easy to use if that's what he's asking. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's easy.
Yeah. So follow us on X, man. See what I did there? Follow us on X, man. And you know, if we get more people on X, we'll gladly just stream there where we can show all the fun stuff and not have to worry about archaic rules that only apply to people like us that actually do things with firearms. But that is what it is for the moment, but hopefully that'll change. I really hope the big gun tubers move over there because I think they do better and they don't have to worry about their content being restricted. I think it's why Brandon Herrera and those other guys made Pepperbox.
All right.
But that's by invite only. We can't just all go there, sadly. But yeah, let's check out what Ben Stiller had to say, and we're at hour 3 right now, so we'll probably call it quits after this. FixV. Oh, Stabby said FixV is just how to link tweets so that any videos will play within Discord. Oh, okay. Yeah, well, my boomer ass now knows.
Learn something every day. Yeah.
I'm not an expert on Discord by any means because, well, I'm old, I guess.
We'll get there, man.
Yeah, we'll get there.
We'll all get there. I'm also learning. I'm also retarded. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's figure this shit out. Yeah.
What's happened in the last couple of weeks, just the turning of the tide, and that, Vice President Harris can actually win this thing if we all just rally around and really take advantage of this incredible energy that's happening. And, I want just a decent person in the White House, a person who cares about democracy more than themselves, who doesn't lie.
As presumptive Democratic nominee Kamala Harris now is trying to deny that she is flip-flopping on fracking. But the tapes don't lie. She was against it.
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. I have a history of working on this issue. And I'm committed to passing a Green New Deal, creating clean jobs, and finally putting an end to fracking once and for all.
Joe Biden has said, quote, I am not banning fracking. Are you comfortable with Joe Biden's position?
Yes, because Joe is saying, listen, one, those are good paying jobs in places like Pennsylvania.
Who's not fomenting anger and rage.
That he will weaponize the Department of Justice against his political enemies. That he will round up peaceful protesters and throw them out of our country. And even, quote,
I'll guarantee you
terminate
she hates fracking. She doesn't want this country to be
the United States Constitution.
And there's a lot of
someone who cares about about people, and that's what Kamala Harris does. She's like a human being. She acts like a human being, and she has empathy, and she has humor, and it's beautiful when she laughs because she's a real person who is
it's
reacting
horrible when
to
she
things.
laughs, bro.
You're considered the most liberal United States senator.
Somebody said that, and it actually was Mike Pence on the debate stage. But
Yeah. Well, actually, the nonpartisan GovTrack has rated you as the most liberal senator.
Gosh,
Let's
she's so
talk about
stupid.
packing.
You once
Come
again
on.
gave a non-answer. Joe Biden gave a non-answer.
Trying to answer you
The American
now.
people deserve a straight answer.
And is that a socialist or progressive perspective?
Be important if you said the truth. Joe Biden said twice in the debate last week.
You landed haymakers on Joe Biden. How do you go from being such a passionate opponent?
It was a debate.
Oh my God.
And she's also a historic candidate. It's going to be the first woman president, and that's incredibly exciting. And she's Indian, she's black, she's everything. You can be more than one thing. It's
She
incredible.
checks all the boxes.
I'm Jewish and Irish. I wish I was black. Every white Jewish guy wishes he was black.
What?
It's just get out there and vote and donate and take advantage. This is such an important time right now, and this wave of energy that's happening, we got to keep going with it. So please, do everything you can. I'm Jewish and Irish. I wish I was
Why?
black. Every white Jewish guy wishes he was black.
Why?
This is the worst.
He was supposed to be the chosen one. He wishes he was black. He wishes he was a black Jew. That's hilarious.
Today, not tomorrow, not
Oh, no,
next
no,
week.
no.
Today is the day.
Stop it. Is that a deep fake? I don't know. I certainly hope it is. Because, wow, man. Heckling Hyena Harris. Yeah, no joke, man. It irks me to see that woman anywhere. She physically bothers me. And
yeah.
And it's because not only is she a crazy liberal, but she's just a moron.
Yeah.
She got a 65 IQ, man. I mean, she's like tapping coconuts together.
When she talks, it makes no sense.
No.
It's just going on and on and on and
She's
on.
just a babbling moron. There is nothing intelligent about this woman. And you know what I really think? I think that the Democratic Party had goals and intentions of running someone else. But when they somehow blackmailed Biden enough to convince him to not run again, That was his final fuck you to the Democratic Party about him not getting to run again. Was I'll just go ahead and endorse Kamala Harris because she's the worst candidate possible.
Man,
today is today, and tomorrow will be
Yeah.
tomorrow's today. Yeah, that's exactly right, Stabby. It's just word salad all the time. This woman makes no sense. She's just stupid. That's it. She's just a stupid
significant
person.
Passage of time. It's a significant passage of time, right?
Yeah, and you know, when you put things
She
on the
keeps saying-
cloud, they're just like up there in the cloud. They're not locked in in a safe in your basement. They're in the cloud.
Yeah, Kamala, if she gets in with Walz, it's bad news. I think every American knows that. And they keep calling JD Vance weird. I don't really get that, how they can call him weird. I think Kamala and Walz are super weird.
They even have billboard signs up now that have like a picture of Trump or a picture of Vance that says weird or weirdo on it. And I really think they just kind of shoot. What's the word I'm looking for? When you poll people on words and shit. Sorry guys, I lose words sometimes. Been blown up too many times. I lose the word thing. What about the brat thing? The brat thing is cringe. That's some Gen Z gayness.
The brat thing, maybe we can wrap it up tonight with that and just have a look. Should we just have a quick look for like a live look? Should we go check Kamala's page? Check Harry, what's his name? Harry Swinson.
Harry Sisson.
And of course,
Harry Sisson.
Sisson.
I don't think
of
I'm
course,
not
our
seeing
favorite
the brat thing in a little while, man. It's like died off. I think everybody got
they-
tired of seeing it.
It was so weak a concept. It barely even stringed together as a meme. There was even a meme. Yeah, maybe we're the only people that followed it in the whole world, apart from the creators of it.
Yeah,
They
'cause
can't
it's
paint
just
JD as racist once they found out he has a wife from the same part of India as Kamala's mama. Wow. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that. I
Stabby
didn't know
with
they were
the
from the same area.
inside. Stabby with the knowledge here, man. What a coincidence. What a small world. What a crazy, crazy coincidence. So do you think that was it? That was a good theory there. So they were going to paint JD as racist because, you know, Walz is also a veteran. Walz is, JD's a veteran. Walz has also done lots of things for his community. Vance has done lots of things for his community. So they're going to just call him weird now.
Yeah, that must have been the word that like really resonated with the groups of people that they asked it, and because they're all saying it now. You know, every single one of them. You look at JoJo from the Jurors. You look at Harry Sisson. You look at the Hog, and they're all saying weird. They're just parrots for it. So that must have been really resonated with voters somehow. I think you'd be pretty low IQ for that to resonate with you, but okay. Stave said, I think that's why Trump leaned towards Vance. He was more acceptable for his audience, and he had a wife from South India, the same heritage as his VP. Yeah, totally. I mean, Trump's not a crazy man. He just has no filter. And obviously, Trump is not a moron. He's a highly intelligent person. A highly intelligent person with absolutely no filter. He's going to tell you exactly what he's thinking, whenever he's thinking it, with no sugar on top of it. Whereas you got this woman, Kamala, who is just a raging fucking moron.
Let's go to her tweets quick before we wrap it up. I gotta see now what she's tweeted.
Oh, what Kamala's tweeted?
Yeah, there must be some tweets, man. There must have been something.
Yeah, let me find it. Let's see, get her pulled up here. She doesn't run her Twitter, man. They have somebody much smarter than her.
I know, yeah. What's happened to Biden's Twitter now? I mean, I just want to see
I
what
don't
the
know.
team is coming out with.
Would
be a
her
horrible-
latest post was from 6 hours ago, and she's going on about reproductive freedom.
Oh, God.
What's I'm sure that'd be delicious.
Here we go. We got the first clip. We trust women.
They need, and that they have access to health care in an environment where they are treated with dignity and respect. We have to be a nation that trusts women. It is only right and
What?
fair that people have access to the health care they need, and that they have access to health care in an environment where they are treated with dignity and respect.
Guys, I'm glad it's got subtitles, but I'm still, okay, access to healthcare in an environment, treated with dignity and respect. Oh, so not being treated with respect.
I think that women are perfectly treated with respect. I think that the problem is that a lot of Americans have problems with these late-term abortions that they like to push. I don't understand why Democrats are all about killing unborn children so much. You know what I mean? I don't get it. Maybe I'll never understand that, to be honest. My wife and I, we lost our first child, and we were lucky, and our second one went, our second child, no problems whatsoever. And I will never understand what will make somebody be like, I'm gonna end this baby's life. Like, I don't understand. I'm incapable of understanding that. So that's my 2 cents on that. Yeah, Kamala isn't black. She's Indian. She's repeatedly said that several times, but now she's black.
It's like if she was black, I would have picked a black VP. Or one with a black wife. Well, it's a shame we can't award someone based upon the merit of their ability, and we have to divulge into going down into or devolve into a race, shall we say?
Yeah.
What's the next tweet?
The next tweet. Yeah.
What else is she? Yeah.
Just scroll down.
What else is she?
Voting is a fundamental freedom that unlocks others. Go ahead to vote. Okay, yeah, she's promoting voting. Yeah. Promoting the Voting Act. Oh, yeah, this one's funny. This one's funny. So this is when she was in the national security team to discuss developments in the Middle East, right? That she was dismissed early from. And I imagine that she was dismissed early from this meeting just because she's a raging moron and was probably sitting in there cackling because she doesn't know anything, and they just got sick of her shit and told her to get out.
She's probably a known person to them, she's a person of interest, shall I say? She might be divulging stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. She's probably like running her mouth about shit too because, well, she probably just doesn't know not to.
Right. Just look at the comments, man. Let's get in there. Let's see what people are saying. Our commitment to the security of Israel is unwavering because we're prepared to support the defense of Israel. Yeah. Let's see.
Let's see. Never forget that it was Kamala Harris who was sent to Europe to prevent the Russian invasion of Ukraine. While there, she contradicted herself before claiming sanctions will deter Putin.
Why not put those sanctions in place? But if you believe Putin has made up his mind, what leverage do you really have? Why not put those sanctions in place now?
The purpose of the sanctions has always been and continues to be deterrence. But let's also recognize the unique nature of the sanctions that we have outlined. These are some of the greatest sanctions, if not the strongest, that we've ever issued. As I articulated yesterday, it is directed at institutions, in particular financial institutions, and individuals, and it will exact absolute harm for the Russian economy and their government.
But if Putin has made up his mind, do you feel that this threat that has been looming is really going to deter him?
Absolutely. We strongly believe. And remember also that the sanctions are a product not only of our perspective as the United States, but a shared perspective among our allies. And the allied relationship is such that we have agreed that the deterrence effect of these sanctions is still a meaningful one, especially because, remember also, we still sincerely hope that there is a diplomatic path out of this moment. And within the context then of the fact that that window is still although it is absolutely narrowing, but within the context of a diplomatic path still being
The more
open,
this woman talks, the more I
the
can feel
deterrence
myself
effect,
about
we
to have an
believe, has
aneurysm.
merit.
Yeah, that's address the nation, you coward. That's another thing. Since she's been selected, she has not been anywhere to really speak much out in public. They've kept her sequestered, like they kept Joe hidden in the basement for the 2020 election. You know what I mean? I think they're afraid to put her out there because they don't know what the dumbass is going to say.
Well, she wanted to debate Trump. Trump said he'd do it, but they needed to confirm the pick. They wouldn't confirm that she's actually who's going to run in what is now only merely a few months away. I think they need to confirm the card, which is maybe what they did last night because old Hogg was very happy that Walz was confirmed. I don't know, the way Democrats move, I don't know if that means they fully confirmed it. It's locked in. That's who's actually going to run.
Here it is. Here's that picture we saw earlier.
We've got
Check
a
this out.
sizable motorcade repositioning on Pennsylvania Avenue, so it's possible that it looks like I can see behind the camera. The vice president's vehicles are leaving right now, so it would seem that at least her part in the Situation Room is done. She will now go back to the Naval Observatory.
It was an intense moment for the Commander-in-Chief of the United States of America, and I was in almost every meeting with the President.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that the meeting's over in the Situation Room.
Correct. We've got a sizable motorcade repositioning on Pennsylvania Avenue, so it's possible that it looks
so
like
it's her and
behind
Walz.
the camera. The
That's
vice
what we
president's
know.
vehicles are leaving right now,
Yeah.
so it would seem.
Yeah, her and Walz, both terrible picks. Walz is bottom of the barrel pick because no Democrat worth their salt would run with Kamala because it's political suicide. And,
Right.
And they're just keeping her sequestered so she doesn't have to answer any questions because she can't answer questions.
When's the debate? That's the question.
Yeah, that's the question. Speaking of debates, we do now know, I guess, Elon and Trump are going to be doing a interview on X.
It's an interview, yeah.
So
it's going to be wild.
It's going to be wild. And we will totally be here for that, and we will live stream it onto the U of Tubes for you guys. For those of you that don't,
we'll be
use
streaming
X,
on it.
We'll be streaming it because I'm very.
Maybe we'll
interested
set
to
up
see
some
that.
more streams,
Yeah.
like the Rumble one as well.
Yeah,
Like
maybe
someone
we'll
was
set up
suggesting.
Rumble. We'll probably get Insta banned on Instagram because that's what it's good for.
I don't think we can stream to Instagram. Nah, I'm not sure. Chat, anyone know? I don't think we can. No. No
I
idea,
don't
man.
think we could. Instagram's pretty cucked anyway, But yeah, we can set it up on Rumble. May even be able to do Twitch.
Twitch,
Maybe.
really?
Kick.
Is there
something,
still
I
a
don't know.
debate over a debate asked Abby? Yeah.
Yes, yes, there is still a debate.
I think
over
there's
the
still.
debate.
Yeah. I don't think anything's confirmed or locked in because they're not confirming the card. Unless last night there was a lot of excitement from David Hogg. David Hogg kept tweeting and tweeting and tweeting about how excited he was for Walz. Does that mean now that it's a fully confirmed thing? Or are they just saying like, okay, Kamala's paired up with Walz. We might still change it up on you in a couple weeks.
Yeah,
We don't know.
Yeah, we're just gonna have to wait for the DNC.
Yeah, once they confirm it, then Trump will debate them. But they're probably going to leave that so close to the election and try and build up a fever pitch of, Taylor Swift and etc. concerts. Megan the Stallion,
I think they're going to
Stallion.
try and delay it, if not try to not have a debate between her and Trump, because, to be honest,
Right.
Trump would just mop the floor with her. I mean, look at what Tulsi Gabbard did to her. Tulsi Gabbard ended her presidential bid in one debate. Boom, done, over.
I would love to see Kamala go up and debate right now and love to hear about all this reform she wants to do on the immigration, on the healthcare, because none of it's
Yeah,
going to
the DNC
work.
is just
She's
about to
got some. It's got to be soon. They're just holding it back. They're just holding it back. As back as long as possible. Because what do they have? What kind of plan do they have?
But
It's
I would
all
love to see her debate too,
economical
Paul.
suicide. Yeah.
I want to see that debate. I want to see her stand
Yeah.
up toe to toe with Donald Trump and try to answer anything.
I'm waiting for it. It has to happen before the election. It's not like we're going to go to the vote without a presidential debate. And yeah, I'm going to be buying popcorn, KFC, of course.
And some beer.
And yeah. Some beer, of course. Yeah. Maybe some burgers.
I think that debate is going to be more of a shit show if it happens than the Trump-Biden debate, and that was pretty atrocious.
The Trump-Biden debate was like, what? Did it even happen? But how are they going to let this go on? You know, that was, when we were covering that was insane. Biden's brain had left his body. He was a fucking corpse on the stage.
Yeah, the Alzheimer's.
They let it
not
happen.
working.
And at that point, they were telling us he's completely competent. Joe's looking great. He's looking great.
Yeah, Joe's looking
get
great.
A date for the DNC. Yeah, the DNC, we will have a stream on it. When is it? August 19th to the 22nd. So we'll be streaming 19th to 22nd. Pack some beers. It's going to be a wild one.
Yeah, get ready for the shit show. Maybe Megan Thee Stallion will make another appearance. Or maybe they'll have somebody more interesting.
Oh, there's going to be some performances. There's going to be a whole lot of shit going down at the DNC. We've got a schedule for it here quickly before we sign off. We got a schedule here. Okay. So it begins Monday, August 19th, wraps up Thursday, August 22nd. Democrats will gather in Chicago to rally behind Democratic nominees. And
man, I hope nobody gets shot since it's in Chicago.
No, man, don't say that. No. We want it to go fully ahead. We want to hear the speeches. We want to hear what the hell's going on.
You know, just standing out on the street and randomly getting popped by a gangbanger because that's how bad Chicago is.
Now you're making me feel like this is a really bad idea. They hold it in Chicago. Yeah, that's a good point.
No, it really is a bad idea. I mean, there's
a bad idea. Yeah, Chirac, right?
Yeah.
Trump has 2 hours ago shared wild, baseless predictions about the DNC. So let me, how can I get you the link here for this? Or you can have a look now on msn.com. It's trending. It's the top article. And he's apparently Trump is running scared of the new Democratic ticket. And he's shared a wild, baseless prediction. In a post on Truth Social, Trump predicted that Biden would crash the DNC later this month and try to take back the Democratic nomination, forcing the September debate of the two they had agreed on to resume. What? Do you think this maybe was a post taken out of context? This sounds like who's shit. Let's have a look at the post. It's over at Truth Social. Okay, he posted, all right, he says, what are the chances that crooked Joe Biden, the worst president in the United States, whose presidency was unconstitutionally stolen from him by Kamala, Barack Hussein Obama, crazy Nancy Pelosi, shifty Adam Schiff, crying Chuck Schumer, and others of the lunatic left, crashes the Democratic National Convention and tries to take back the nomination, beginning with challenging me to another debate? He feels that he made a historically tragic mistake by handing over the U.S. presidency, a coup, to the people in the world he hates, he most hates, and he wants it back now. So what? So Trump is saying that he thinks Biden's coming back? What?
Man, talk about some turmoil if that happened. There's no way they're going to let that man do that. They'll sleep in. They'll put some. They'll roofie him before they let him say some shit like that.
Yeah, he'll get roofied for sure, bro.
Joe would be passed out at the table at the DNC. They won't even know he's there. But anyway, guys, we've been rolling on about 3.5 hours now. We better get on, and I better go find my pillow.
Do some other shit. Yeah. Well, for that silencer.
It's been
we need to go find that.
Right.
The silencer, right?
What's that?
Use the pillow for your silencer, so
yeah, I need to go get my pillow. Things are going to happen.
Yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in and following along, and until next time, we'll be We'll be back here again with more fun, more Clown World clips.
Now,
cringe
one
clips,
thing on a
news.
serious note, Paul.
Yeah.
We still, on a serious note, we still have not seen the retaliatory attack from Iran on Israel, and that's expected. That was expected to happen, I think, like today. The DOD came out and said they expected 24 to 48 hours. We're past that now, and it's not happened yet. I'm sure it's going to happen at some point, but I definitely, one of us, if not both of us, will be here to cover that when that happens, because that's going to be a significant world event, and we want to watch it and discuss it with you guys in real time as it's going down.
Yeah.
So we're
Yeah.
absolutely keeping our eyes on that.
So yeah, until next time, over to you, Ryan, signing out.
Yeah. Everybody have a great night. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us for the last 3.5 hours. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Hope you guys enjoyed the new format. And we'll see you next time. And again, thank you guys. Have a great night.